Chapter 161. Ling Feng slowly stretched out a finger and tapped the two of them lightly. Bang! Two loud noises. The thighs of the two people instantly turned into a pile of minced meat. The ground was instantly stained red with blood, and a trace of hot air came out of the blood. The two people collapsed on the ground, leaving only half of their bodies wailing constantly. Because of the severe pain, the palms of the two people kept slapping the ground, and their faces were extremely twisted. The other three superpowers were horrified when they saw the miserable state of the two people. Run! I don't know who said it, and the three people immediately ran away quickly in different directions. Ling Feng looked at the few people who were running away quickly, his face full of teasing. Until now, he gently spit out to one of them. Explode! I saw that the legs of a person who had just run 100 meters exploded instantly, and his body lost its center of gravity and fell to the ground. Then there was a heart-wrenching scream. The other two who had escaped heard the screams behind them, and they didn't dare to look back, so they ran harder. But soon they found that their bodies were floating backwards uncontrollably. A few seconds later, they returned to the original place again, along with the companion who had just lost his legs. Ling Feng ignored the three of them, but looked at the two people on the ground. Brother Jiu looked at Ling Feng with horror, his eyes full of shock. He didn't expect Ling Feng's strength to be so terrifying, and what he said just now was pure suicide. Not only can he not get the supplies today, but he can't even save his own life. Old Tin on the side regretted it now. If he had known earlier, he would not have waded into this muddy water and had to follow him down the mountain. Tell me, who are you? Ling Feng crossed his arms and looked at the few people. We came from Kunlun Mountain. If you kill us today, you will be annihilated. I admit that you are very strong, but my Kunlun Mountain is much stronger than yours. The ninth brother stared at Ling Feng and said coldly, Kunlun Mountain. Ling Feng's expression moved slightly. He had heard of this place, one of the most mysterious places in Longhua. Many myths and legends have the shadow of Kunlun. I didn't expect these people to come from there. Wasn't that place blocked by the authorities before? These guys are not trying to scare me. As for the fact that he said there are many people who are stronger than him, he is not afraid at all. In terms of improvement speed, I am afraid no one can compare with me. As long as I want to improve, I can just run to the enemy's house and kill them, collect more crystals, and my strength will rise. You said you came from Kunlun. Kunlun is thousands of kilometers away from here. Why did you run here? You don't need to know this, and we won't tell you, the ninth brother said with a firm look in his eyes. The next second, bang! Brother Jiu exploded on the spot, and the pieces of meat scattered everywhere. At the same time, a mountain of supplies appeared not far from the battlefield. Fuck, equipment exploded? Ling Feng looked at the supplies, all of which were various kinds of food, probably collected from various places. Judging from the quantity, there were at least tens of thousands of tons. Because the categories were too complicated, Ling Feng directly put them all into the space. These supplies were enough for the base to eat for at least 3 years. If they were copied 100 times, so delicious. Ling Feng gently hooked his finger, and a round crystal slowly floated up from the ground and came to Ling Feng's hand. Ling Feng carefully observed the crystal. This was the first time he had seen such a round crystal. It seemed that after the superpower reached the king level, the crystal in the brain would undergo a transformation. The energy contained in this crystal was obviously far greater than the crystals collected in the past. Ling Feng looked at the other people with a hint of bloodthirsty madness in his eyes. Tell me, what is the purpose of running so far? Even if you kill me, I won't tell you. Old Tin said fiercely. Ling Feng didn't waste his words with him and used the same method to get another king-level crystal. The remaining 3 people were trembling with fear. They didn't dare to open their eyes to look at Ling Feng. He was a demon who killed people without blinking an eye. Ling Feng looked at the man in black lying on the ground, who fainted because of excessive blood loss. Ling Feng was too lazy to ask her, and looked directly at the other two. We don't know. We came here to carry out a secret operation this time, and only the elders know the specific content. We don't know anything. One of them couldn't stand the depressing atmosphere and said tremblingly, "Elder, what organization are you from?" Ling Feng looked at him coldly and said, "We are from Kunlun Mountain Shadow Building. What is the strength of your organization?" After some questioning, Ling Feng also had a preliminary understanding of the identities of these people. The two king-level superpowers are the elders of the Shadow Building. Above them are 8 elders, each of whom is powerful. Above the elders are 2 deputy leaders, whose strength is unknown. As for the owner of the building, he has never seen him. Ling Feng killed them all and took away their crystals. The origin of this group of people should not be underestimated. We must do our best to prepare for countermeasures. Lin Su said solemnly. It's okay. Kunlun is far away from here. Besides, who would know that we killed them? Ling Feng pinched her cheek carelessly. Let's go. Go home and sleep. We haven't taken a bath together for a long time, Ling Feng said with a wretched face. Are you taking a bath? Lin Su looked at him speechlessly. The next morning, Ling Feng was awakened by a burst of phone rings. He opened his eyes sleepily, took out his phone, and saw that it was Wang Long's call, so he answered it. Fengzi, the team is ready. We can set off. Ling Feng was instantly alert, and the man jumped up from the bed. Okay, I'll be there right away. Just after hanging up the phone, a pair of white jade arms stretched out from the quilt and hugged his shoulders. What time is it? Lin Su was half asleep and half awake, and her tone was a little soft. Even though she was in a strong physical condition now, she couldn't stand working overtime for 3 or 4 hours at night. Now her whole body seemed to be falling apart. It's only 8 o'clock. You can go back to sleep. Ling Feng put on his pants, covered her with a quilt, and left the bedroom. In the square outside the villa, 400 members of the God of War Brigade stood there neatly, each of them standing tall and with a solemn look on their faces. Ling Feng and Ma Wu stood on the high platform waiting for Ling Feng's arrival. In order to save time, Ling Feng teleported to Wang Long's side. Oh my God, you scared me. Can you make some noise next time? When Ling Feng appeared, the team members standing below looked at him enthusiastically. Have you used the nutrient solution I gave you yesterday? Wang Long nodded, showing an excited look. I have used it, and the effect this time is better than last time. Chapter 162. Ling Feng's eyes moved slightly. What has happened? Wang Long said excitedly. Our team members have all reached the peak state of 1,000 points, and the power of their own firepower has also greatly increased. We now have a team of superpowered people. Ling Feng was a little surprised. He didn't expect his blood to become so strong after his transformation. But now he has a new problem. He needs to take out more serum to improve the strength of the team members, but the raw materials he has are not enough. It seems that I have to find some raw materials. However, the strength of these team members is enough to dominate Shanjing City. After solving the current troubles, we will look for these raw materials. This kind of material is relatively rare, and with the influence of the end of the world, it is very difficult to find. But there is definitely a place where it is available, and the stock is abundant. Ling Feng looked at the hundreds of team members below the stage, ready to stand in front of the mobilization. He took a step forward and said in a loud voice, Comrades, congratulations on your success in Nirvana and your further improvement in strength. Now you finally have the power to protect yourself in the end times, and are no longer fish on the chopping board. The team members of the God of War base below were moved and excited. The look they showed towards Ling Feng was full of respect and gratitude. They are all ordinary people, but they have a little more fighting skills than ordinary people, but they still have no power to resist the superpowers. It was Ling Feng who gave them everything. Today is the first day of your expedition, and it is the most important day for the development of our God of War base. Your success determines whether our God of War base can go further in the future. Here, I wish you all a triumphant victory. I will set up a banquet and wait for your return. After Ling Feng finished speaking, the team members below were excited one by one. They also wanted to try how strong they were. Leader, we will definitely live up to your expectations, Ma Wu said solemnly. Okay, let's go. Ling Feng nodded. As Wang Long and Ma Wu returned to their respective teams, the two teams began to slowly set off. All the team members boarded the snowmobiles and drove slowly in two directions. After seeing them off, there were still 200 people on the field, standing in place, mainly responsible for the escort team responsible for protecting the safety of the base, which was also the third team of the base. Team 1 was managed by Wang Long, Team 2 was Ma Wu, and Team 3 was currently managed by Ling Feng. Ling Feng looked at the 200 people in the audience, just said a few simple words, and let them disband. Their responsibilities and division of labor were already very clear, and there was no need to elaborate too much. Ling Feng walked on the road, constantly thinking about the management issues of Team 3 in his mind. Find a suitable person to manage the guard team for me as soon as possible. He is a person who hates management. As the boss of the base, he only needs to do two things well, that is, providing supplies and absolute strength. If these 2 points are done well, the base will not be in chaos. In addition, other things can be left to professionals. Go back and sleep first, and then absorb yesterday's inner elixir. Ling Feng walked towards the villa with a relaxed look. On the other side, Wang Long led 200 team members to march in one direction with pride. Sitting in a comfortable all-terrain snowmobile, there is a driver who drives him specially. This car was specially equipped for him by Ling Feng, and Ma Wu also has one. He is full of confidence in this operation. With 200 younger brothers who are stronger than superpowers, who can resist. In terms of personal combat power, after using the nutrient solution given by Ling Feng this morning, he broke through to 2,100 points in one fell swoop. With his strength, he can easily kill even a superpowered person. I just don't know how it will be when fighting with the king level, but there is no chance now. Just when Wang Long was sitting in the car and smoking leisurely, a call came from the walkie-talkie. Captain, a base was found ahead. According to the information we collected, this is a shelter under the Co-Creation Base Alliance. Alliance? Wang Long thought for a moment, and then said directly, "Go directly, I'll talk to their boss." Just when the army stopped at the door of the shelter, the guards of the shelter had already reported the situation to the highest leader of the base at the first time. As the leader of the shelter, Yang Tingi, at this time, looked at the group of people outside with bad intentions from the observation port with a nervous face. Judging from the way these people are dressed, they are not ordinary people. They are wearing standard clothes, and each of them is very cute. Everyone was carrying a long knife and a dagger on their waist. This kind of snowmobile, which they didn't have in the entire shelter, was actually owned by this group of people. The momentum of this group of people was not comparable to that of ordinary superpowers. While he was observing, one of the people in uniform walked towards them. The soldiers in the shelter immediately asked, "Who are you?" This is the territory of the Co-Creation Base Alliance. No one is allowed to come forward. The team member stood still and looked at the observation hole here, saying neither humbly nor arrogantly, "We are from the God of War base. This time we come here to discuss cooperation with your leader. Inform your top leader as soon as possible." The guard said, and immediately looked at Yang Tingi on the side. "Boss, they want to discuss cooperation with us." Yang Tingi frowned slightly, and his mind had been filtering the information of the God of War base. In his impression, he had never heard of this name. Previously, the leader only reminded not to provoke a person named Ling Feng, and did not mention the name of the God of War base. It was probably some unknown small base. He said to the team members outside through the observation port, "I am the person in charge of this shelter. You can talk about anything here." The team members standing outside immediately told Wang Long the news, and Wang Long immediately got off the car and walked to the gate of the shelter. "I am Wang Long from the God of War base, and I am also the highest leader of this unit." "That is the leader. I am Yang Tingi. Tell me what you have to say." Wang Long smiled slightly. "We at the God of War base want to form a united front with your alliance to jointly build peace and security in Shanjing City." "How to build it?" Yang Tingi asked with some doubts. "It's very simple. That is, we will send a team to station at your base to maintain your safety, and we will not interfere with your normal management work." Yang Tingi thought for a while, and then he came to his senses. "Aren't you a garrison?" He immediately said angrily, "We don't agree. We are a member of the Co-Creation Base Alliance. We don't need your cooperation. Go away. Wang Long's face was a little ugly, and his voice was a little cold. Are you sure? Chapter 163. Yang Tingyi looked at Wang Long, who was speaking in a bad tone, and said without showing any weakness, Are you sure? You want to fight with our alliance? Wang Long did not speak. He slowly raised his right hand. The 200 well-equipped team members behind him immediately walked towards this side with steady steps. Yang Tingyi did not expect the other party to be so arrogant and wanted to fight at the slightest disagreement. Immediately said to a signalman beside him, Notify all combatants to arrive. As long as they dare to fight, beat these guys into hornets. After saying this, he took out the satellite phone again, found a number, and dialed it. At this time, Zhang Fatsai, who was in a meeting in the conference room, received a call from Yang Tingyi and answered it. What's the matter? Zhang Fatsai said in a light tone. Alliance leader, a group of people came to our shelter. They are extremely arrogant. They asked us to submit to them, and they want to fight. Zhang Fatsai was shocked. After being beaten up several times, he didn't dare to be arrogant at all. He asked nervously, Who are they? They said they are from the God of War base and brought 200 people this time. God of War base. Zhang Fatsai quickly recalled the information about the God of War base in his mind and was sure that this was the first time he heard of it. The hanging heart was put down again. Do you know the name of the other side? One of the commanders they came this time is called Wang Long. Zhang Fatsai had never heard of this name before. He was sure that the other side was just a small base, probably established recently. Thinking of this, his temper immediately came up. Now, anyone dares to shit on his neck. Do you really think your base is a soft persimmon? You immediately organize people to fight back. I will bring a large force to support you now. This time, I must destroy their base. Zhang Fatsai hung up the phone, his eyes full of anger. The meeting is suspended. Now quickly assemble the troops. Follow me to rescue Yang Tingyi. Who dares to bully our alliance? A bald man said fiercely. Our alliance is ranked among the best in the entire Shanjing city, and there are really blind people. We are too low-key. This time we must make them look good. Everyone expressed their dissatisfaction. Zhang Fatsai was also ignited by the words of this group of people, and immediately said, This time we must show the prestige of our alliance, and at the same time shock the surrounding bases. Now you hurry up and prepare. All set off in 10 minutes, and notify the other shelters to let them bring people to support. After that, he left the meeting room. Other high-level officials in the conference room also left and made preparations. Yang Tingyi was more confident after getting the confirmation from the leader. At the same time, the ammunition on the shelter side was ready and could be counterattacked at any time. Outside, Wang Long led his team members to the gate of the shelter. With their current physical defense, ordinary hot weapons did not pose any threat to them. Stop moving forward, or we will shoot. The guards of the shelter warned again. Wang Long seemed not to hear and continued to move forward. Da-da-da! Countless bullets were sprayed out of the shooting holes of the shelter in an instant, and the battlefield was instantly covered by gunfire. Wang Long, who was standing at the front, became the main target of the bullet attack. Hundreds of bullets flew quickly towards Wang Long's body. Wang Long did not dodge or evade and let the bullets hit him without any effect. Except for Wang Long, the rest of the team members were not hurt by the bullets and were unscathed after a round of attacks. Everyone in the shelter was shocked. What's going on? How come there was nothing happening to the other side after so many shots were fired? Why are their defenses so high? Even a superpowered person wouldn't dare to take on the bullets. They wouldn't be superpowered people. 200 superpowered people, it shouldn't be possible. It's very likely that the clothes they wear have bulletproof functions. Yang Tingyi's eyebrows were almost wrinkled at this moment. The opponent's strength was beyond his cognition, and it was too abnormal to ignore bullets. Wang Long walked to the door of the shelter. Facing the door of the shelter, Wang Long did not choose to use explosives to detonate, but directly punched the half-meter-thick door. At first, Yang Tingyi was still dismissive of this, secretly laughing at Wang Long's brain. Whether there was a 30-centimeter layer outside his door-thick steel plate with ultra-high-strength concrete inside. Even explosives are difficult to break. This person actually wanted to break it with his fist. I don't know if he is stupid or naive. Soon, something even more shocking happened to him. The originally solid door was shaking violently. Wang Long found that he didn't break the door open with his punch, and his face suddenly sank. He felt that his face was not bright. Then he took a deep breath and gathered all his strength on his arms. "Ha!" he shouted loudly. His fist hit the door with an unstoppable momentum. Boom! After a loud bang, the door collapsed and the whole ground shook. A huge cloud of dust was raised. A cold wind blew into the shelter. Everyone looked towards the door. Under the light, they couldn't see the face of the person and only saw a not-so-strong figure standing there. Everyone couldn't help but take a breath. 2 punches smashed open the half-meter-thick door. Is this still a human being? Yang Tingyi secretly cried out that it was not good at this time. He stood in the crowd and said to the people around him, "Everyone, come together and take this man down." Everyone looked at each other, and no one stepped forward. In this situation, whoever goes up will die. Whoever dares to go up is just for a meal, and no one wants to lose his life. You bastards, I have raised you for so long. You have all forgotten it, right? Yang Tingyi was angry, and then slowly walked out of the crowd to face Wang Long. If you really want to tear your face, our alliance army will arrive soon. Even if you kill it, it will be useless. You should leave quickly if you know what's good for you. Wang Long smiled slightly and looked at him with a playful look. You also know how a fool like you became the leader of the shelter. Do you think I am afraid of your so-called alliance? You are a robber. Yang Tingyi was immediately furious. Wang Long, you continued. I just tried to talk to you nicely, but you didn't listen, so I can only use violence. Wang Long walked to Yang Tingyi and asked, "Now I'll give you one last chance. Do you agree to my conditions?" Yang Tingyi looked ugly and finally smiled bitterly. "Okay, I'll take your proposal." Suddenly, Yang Tingyi attacked Wang Long in the face. He hit Wang Long in the chest instantly. Chapter 164. Yang Tingyi looked at Wang Long with a grim smile on his face. But his smile froze in the next second, and his fist hit Wang Long's chest, as if hitting a steel plate. A sharp pain came out of his hand, accompanied by the sound of broken bones. Yang Tingyi screamed and flew backwards instantly. He hit the concrete wall hard, shaking the wall and causing a burst of exclamations. Wang Long instantly came to the place where Yang Tingyi fell, grabbed Yang Tingyi with one hand, and lifted him into the air. "I just gave you a chance, but unfortunately you didn't cherish it." Wang Long looked at him indifferently, and then strangled his neck with his right hand. Yang Tingyi slowly died in shock, his eyes wide open, as if he couldn't believe that he would die so casually. Wang Long casually threw the body aside and looked at the other people in the shelter. "Do you want to be like him?" The members of Team 1 also looked at them with murderous intent, ready to kill them. The soldiers of the Alliance looked at each other, their eyes full of fear. One of the braver guards said loudly, "I surrender. I am willing to submit." Wang Long looked at him with a smile and said lightly, "Very good. What is your name?" "Report. My name is Lu Xiao, the captain of the 2nd Squad of the 1st Battalion of the base." Wang Long nodded and said casually, "You are a smart man. From today on, all the armed forces of this base will be managed by you." Lu Xiao's face was happy when he heard this. He didn't expect that he would get such a big benefit just by being the first to surrender. You should know that the military management of the entire base is a very powerful position. If it were before, he would never get such a high position in his life. "Thank you, sir. I will do my best until my death. I hope you can keep your promise. Otherwise, he will be your fate." Wang Long pointed at Yang Tingyi. Lu Xiao's heart tightened, and he dared not have any unreasonable thoughts. Eager to make a contribution, he immediately revealed the news of the Alliance's army to Wang Long. "Sir, according to their marching distance, they will arrive in another hour." Wang Long nodded casually, without any nervousness. Then, Lu Xiao led the members of the God of War team to carry out a comprehensive reception. There was no resistance throughout the whole process. After learning that Yang Tingyi was dead, everyone surrendered. After visiting the entire shelter, Wang Long also had a basic understanding of the layout here. The scale of the entire base is not large, only about 1/3 of the God of War base. The resident army is 500 people, most of whom are ordinary people with no combat effectiveness, and some people can't even use guns. The food reserves in the base are good enough to last the entire base for 2 years. According to Lu Xiao, this place was originally an official shelter. Later, due to rebellion, the official's top leader was killed by a group of armed men under Yang Tingyi and seized control of the base. The official had previously stored a lot of food in the shelter, and this is still a small part. Most of the food has been transported to the headquarters of the Alliance. It seems that this so-called Alliance headquarters is quite dark, but this method is not bad. Using food to control the various bases below, we can also learn from this method when the time comes. Wang Long thought secretly in his heart. A team member quickly walked towards Wang Long and whispered, "Captain, a group of troops came 1 kilometer away from the base, with a number of about 1,000 people, and is expected to arrive in 5 minutes. Wang Long was a little surprised. He didn't expect that this group of guys came quite quickly, faster than he expected. What he didn't know was that Zhang Fatsai was full of anger at this time. Since Wang Zhuang Mine, he has not had a good life. People from various bases come to him to make trouble and teach him a lesson like a grandson. The key is that he dare not resist at all. These are big forces, and any one of them can destroy him. Now there is finally a small and unknown force to provoke him. He can finally avenge his previous shame." As soon as he received Yang Tingyi's call for help, he rushed over without stopping. Zhang Fatsai sat on a sled, and 5 Alaskans in front of him were pulling the sled hard. Zhang Fatsai frowned slightly while holding the phone. "What's going on? I called Yang Tingyi several times, but why didn't he answer? Is the war very stalemate? What a waste. There are only 200 people on the opposite side, and the fight is so difficult. It seems that it's time to change the leader of this base. Everyone, speed up and get there as soon as possible." Zhang Fatsai shouted at the marching team. As he galloped all the way, the large army soon arrived at shelter number 5, where Yang Tingyi was. At this time, about 200 soldiers with long swords on their backs stood neatly in the open space in front of the shelter. Each of them looked solemn and exuded a murderous aura. Zhang Fatsai saw at a glance that this group of people was not an ordinary team. They were regular troops and elite troops who had experienced hundreds of battles. No wonder Yang Tingyi didn't call all the time. This team is really hard to deal with. But why can't I see Yang Tingyi's trace? Could it be? Zhang Fatsai's heart tightened, and a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. He got off the sled, quickly walked to the front of the team, and looked at a person opposite. He said in a deep voice, "Where is Yang Tingyi?" "Dead," Wang Long said neatly. "You are so brave. You dare to kill people from our alliance. Do you really think we are still bullying you?" Zhang Fatsai's face was full of anger at this time, and he wanted to tear this guy apart immediately. However, this guy was able to kill Yang Tingyi in a short time, so he must be a superpower. Before he figured out the opponent's strength, he couldn't act rashly, otherwise it would be bad if he capsized in the ditch. Wang Long looked at Zhang Fatsai with an angry face, put on a calm look, and said lightly, "I've been brave since I was a child. I learned to steal at the age of 1, learned to steal at the age of 2, ate rat poison at the age of 3, crawled through the sewer at the age of 5, and beat up an old Taoist at the age of 6. Wang Long's playful expression made Zhang Fatsai even more angry. "I don't care which base you are from, but daring to kill the people of our co-founding base alliance is the thing you will regret most in your life. Catch him for me." After Zhang Fatsai made a ruthless statement, he ordered 3 of his psychics to deal with Wang Long, and he retreated behind them. Wang Long looked at this cowardly guy with disdain. He spoke more harshly than anyone else, and hid behind when it came to action. I really don't know how this guy convinces people to work for him. Several psychics under Zhang Fatsai looked at each other and surrounded Wang Long. Chapter 165. Wang Long looked at the 3 psychics and saw that their aura was very weak. They should have just awakened their powers not long ago, and were weaker than Yang Tingyi. He was too lazy to take action against opponents of this level. He looked at the team members behind him, picked one of them randomly, and said, "You have 1 minute to take down the 3 of them." "Yes, Captain." The team member slowly walked out of the team, moved his wrist, and his eyes flashed with fighting spirit. Although there were 3 psychics on the opposite side, he was not afraid at all. Although his strength was not outstanding in the entire team, his body had reached the limit of 1,000 points. The 3 psychics on the side of the co-creation alliance looked extremely ugly when they saw that Wang Long had randomly found a soldier to deal with the 3 of them. I didn't expect this person to be so arrogant. Although their powers had just awakened, they were real psychics, far superior to ordinary people. "Boy, you dare to challenge us as an ordinary person. Are you looking for death?" The team member smiled coldly. "Although I am just an ordinary sergeant, I am more than enough to deal with you. Stop talking nonsense and attack." After the team member finished speaking, his body quickly left the spot like a cannonball and shot towards the 3 superpowers. The 3 superpowers also immediately spread their bodies and formed a siege. The 3 people attacked the team members at the same time, attacking the team members' bodies from 3 directions. The team member's body shape suddenly changed, and he quickly dodged towards one of them. I saw him clench his fists, and his fists as big as sandbags brought up gusts of fist wind, and he quickly attacked the superpower, fast and fierce. After years of training, fighting has become his instinct. The superpower looked at the fist that was attacking him quickly and hurriedly took action to resist. In a panic, he stumbled and almost fell. Although he was a superpower, he lacked combat experience and even forgot to use his superpowers. The team member punched the superpower in the chest. Crack! The psychic flew backwards more than 10 meters away, and his body slid 7 or 8 meters along the ground, leaving a shocking blood mark on the ground. The psychic lay on the ground motionless, his chest sunken, and he died on the spot. Zhang Fatsai, who was hiding in the crowd and watching the battle, saw this scene, and his pupils shrank slightly. Killing a psychic with just one move, this strength is too terrifying. Could it be that all these 200 people have this strength? He felt cold all over when he thought of this. If this is true, it would be too scary. But he quickly denied this idea. It is impossible for a base to have so many strong people. Even the previous Qingzhou Lu family and Storm base could not have this strength. What's more, it was a small base that he had never heard of. This is very likely a trick of the other party, deliberately scaring him. The person on the field is the real commander of this unit, pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. Zhang Fatsai felt a little better. Although this guy is very strong, he is not defeated. He also has a trump card. Just a few days ago, he had just broken through to the level of a superpowered person, and his power was extremely powerful. On the field, the remaining 2 power users saw the other party easily kill one of their companions, and their eyes were solemn. The person on the opposite side is not easy to deal with, and must be handled with caution. Use power and kill this person quickly. One of them shouted. The 2 of them instantly used their power to whistle towards the team members. One of them has a power increase, and the other has a speed increase. The cooperation has a good effect. The team member's eyes turned cold, and his body accelerated instantly, and he came to one of them in an instant. His fist instantly hit the man's head, and at the same time his fist was surrounded by a ball of green flames, which looked extremely charming. The power user was instantly hit by the fist with fire, and his body was instantly surrounded by flames. Ah! The psychic screamed, and 3 seconds later, he turned into a pile of ashes, with a crystal flashing in the ashes. The only psychic left turned around and fled immediately. After 2 people were killed in a row, he had clearly understood the strength of his opponent. If he continued to fight, he would only die. However, his speed was obviously not as fast as that of the team member. He had just run 2 or 5 meters away when he was chased and killed by a punch by the team member. The team member returned to the team and saluted Wang Long to report. Captain, the mission is accomplished. Wang Long nodded with praise. Not bad, it only took half a minute. Wang Long looked at Zhang Fatsai opposite him, with a provocative look in his eyes. Alliance leader Zhang, are you going to be a coward? How long are you going to hide? Zhang Fatsai snorted coldly and walked out of the crowd. Boy, the one just now is the real leader of your team. You still want to play the trick of playing the pig and eating the tiger with me. This is all left over from my tricks. Wang Long looked at Zhang Fatsai with a surprised face. I didn't expect this guy to have such a big brain hole and such a rich imagination. But he didn't have so much patience to argue with this guy now. His time was very tight, and he had to take this place as soon as possible. Stop talking nonsense, Zhang Fatsai. I'm asking you one last time. Are you willing to hand over the military command of your base? Wang Long frowned and said, Impossible. I will not compromise in the alliance I co-founded. In that case, I can only change the leader of your alliance. Wang Long said coldly, Attack, surrender and no killing. As Wang Long's order was issued, the team members behind him instantly burst into fighting spirit and quickly attacked the enemy. Zhang Fatsai looked at the team of only 200 people, and the oppression it brought to him was like facing 1,000,000 troops. He immediately shouted to the team behind him, Attack! Kill them all! 1,000 members of the alliance also began to charge towards the opposite side, but their morale looked very weak. The two armies immediately fought together. The situation on the battlefield became one-sided, but in just a few seconds, more than half of the soldiers who created the alliance were killed or injured. The members of the God of War base shouted, Surrender and no killing. I surrender! I surrender! With one person taking the lead, all the rest rushed to raise their hands and surrender. Those who were slower were killed directly without even a chance to surrender. Zhang Fatsai was dumbfounded. He was the only one left standing in the entire alliance. The others either surrendered and squatted on the ground or were killed. He never expected that his team of 1,000 people could not hold out for even half a minute. Who are these people? Wang Long put his hands behind his back and looked at him calmly. If you surrender now, I can give you one last chance. Chapter 166. Zhang Fatsai knelt on the ground without hesitation after hearing Wang Long's words. I surrender. He was originally a person who feared death. Now that he could survive, he would definitely surrender. Integrity? What a joke. Wang Long was a little surprised. He didn't expect this guy to surrender so easily. But it's good this way, so he doesn't have to do it himself. Alliance Master Zhang is very righteous and can recognize the situation. My God of War base likes to deal with smart people the most. I think our leader will definitely appreciate people like you. Zhang Fatsai was very curious about this God of War base that suddenly appeared. To build a powerful force in such a short time, what kind of hero must this leader be? He couldn't help but ask cautiously. I wonder who is the leader of the God of War base. Wang Long smiled slightly. Our leader is called Ling Feng. I wonder if Alliance Master Zhang has heard of him. Ling Feng. Zhang Fatsai was shocked. More than having heard of it, it was simply too familiar. The fear Ling Feng brought to him had always existed deep in his heart. He never expected that this God of War base was actually built by Ling Feng. If he had known this earlier, he would have taken everyone to kneel down to greet him immediately. He knew Ling Feng's methods. He was decisive in killing. He would shoot people in the head at any time, and he would kill people without blinking an eye. I was blind before. Please ask Captain Wang to plead for me in front of the leader. Zhang Fatsai knelt on the ground and begged. Wang Long walked up to help Zhang Fatsai up and said with a smile, Old Zhang, you're being so polite. The leader is a very easygoing person. As long as you have no second thoughts, the leader is still very generous. I will tell the leader about your affairs. Don't worry. Let's go. Take me to your headquarters. Although Zhang Fatsai was unwilling in his heart, he did not dare to show it, so he could only take Wang Long to the headquarters. Wang Long left 10 team members behind, which was equivalent to 10 superpowered people, enough to protect the safety of the shelter. In order to save time, Wang Long let Zhang Fatsai take his special car alone, and the rest of the people stayed in shelter number 5 for the time being. Half an hour later, the God of War team arrived at the Alliance headquarters. The headquarters was also built underground and was transformed from an air raid shelter. Under the leadership of Zhang Fatsai, Wang Long quickly became familiar with the entire headquarters. The entire headquarters is very large, but there are very few people living there. They are all armed forces of the Alliance and the families of these high-level people. In the warehouse of the headquarters, Wang Long was surprised to see their reserve grain. There are hundreds of thousands of kilograms of rice and flour here, as well as a lot of meat and frozen food. There are also a lot of instant foods like instant noodles. These foods are enough to feed the entire Alliance for 10 years. Lao Zhang, you have a lot of surplus. Where did you get it from? Wang Long said in shock. Zhang Fatsai said a little embarrassedly. Actually, these things were originally here. Before the end of the world, I was a porter and happened to work here. This place was stockpiled by a wealthy man in Shanjing City. It is said that he heard a reliable news that Blue Star would usher in a disaster. So he stockpiled a lot of food here. I didn't care at the time. Later, after the end of the world came, I awakened my supernatural powers and directly snatched this place. Wang Long looked surprised. He patted Zhang Fatsai on the shoulder and said with a smile, Old Zhang, yes. I will report the situation here to the leader as soon as possible. He will definitely be very happy. Zhang Fatsai's heart was bleeding, but he could only smile on his face. After Wang Long visited the entire headquarters, he immediately called Ling Feng and told him that there was a lot of food here. After Ling Feng got the news, he was very happy and told him to keep moving forward. He would take time to go to Zhang Fatsai. Wang Long left a team of 30 people to guard the headquarters. He led the rest of the people to move towards the next target. When he left, he took Zhang Fatsai with him. This guy just surrendered. He was worried about leaving him alone here. Who knows if he will do anything weird? Wang Long's next target is Yanwu Base. This base is also a small base, but the leader of this base, Dong Yanwu, is a superpowered person with a very mysterious origin. His base was just established in the past month. In the past month, Yanwu Base has annexed several surrounding bases, and its momentum is fierce. There are very few people in their base, all of them are young people. The base does not accept women, children, and the elderly. Even young people will be ruthlessly abandoned once they are injured or seriously ill. So although the Yanwu Base has few members, its strength is not weak. Dong Yanwu once said that he would unify Shanjing City in 3 months. He has the confidence to say this. The cruel elimination rule of the Yanwu Base has kept the entire base in vigorous development. It can be said that everyone is a soldier. Wang Long frowned as he looked at the information about the Yanwu Base. It's not because of how powerful Dong Yanwu is, but because this person is so cruel and ruthless. Even if it is his most trusted subordinate, he will ruthlessly abandon him once he loses his combat effectiveness. Although this extreme egoist sounds unkind, this model can indeed ensure that his base survives longer and will not be dragged down by the old, weak, and disabled. The Yanwu Base is not far from the Co-Creation Alliance, and the two bases have had friction with each other before. Wang Long heard from Zhang Fatsai that there were several small-scale battles due to material problems before, and each had casualties. Dong Yanwu was very arrogant. As long as he saw the supplies he wanted, no matter who found them, he would just rob them. Listening to Zhang Fatsai's words, Wang Long became more and more interested in Dong Yanwu. He wanted to meet this person now. Wang Long led the troops to march in a motorized manner, and it took less than 20 minutes to reach the Yanwu Base. What surprised Wang Long was that a team of more than 1,000 people had gathered outside the Yanwu Base. Everyone had a gun in their hands, and from the momentum of these people, they were much stronger than those who co-created the Alliance Base. At the front of the team stood a young man and an old man in gray linen clothes. The young man had sharp eyes and stood there upright, like a sharp sword, with a pair of eagle eyes that were extremely aggressive. They seemed to have known that Wang Long would come, so they waited here in advance. Chapter 167. Wang Long narrowed his eyes slightly. Things seemed to be getting more and more interesting. Wang Long got off the car, and the 160 team members behind him followed him neatly. Although the number of the other side was several times that of his own, the murderous aura exuded made the 1,000-man team on the opposite side feel extremely depressed. Wang Long looked at the young man standing in the front. Based on his unruly face, he could guess his identity. But the gray-clothed old man next to him was hard to tell. This man stepped on the snow with bare feet, carrying a long knife behind him, with a restrained breath, just like a hermit. Wang Long walked 50 meters away from Dong Yinwu and stopped, looking at the opposite side calmly. Dong Yinwu looked at Wang Long on the opposite side with a bloodthirsty look in his eyes. Although there were only more than 100 people on the opposite side, they were all extraordinary, and they were not ordinary soldiers at a glance. This sense of oppression made the blood in his body begin to boil. He was eager to fight with the opponent. The stronger the opponent was, the more excited he was, and the faster his strength would improve. "Are you from the God of War base?" Dong Yinwu said fiercely. A trace of surprise flashed in Wang Long's eyes. "You are well informed, right? It seems that you have planted a lot of spies in Zhang Fatsai." Dong Yinwu smiled coldly. "I was going to use these spies to deal with Zhang Fatsai, but I didn't expect that the waste was so weak that he surrendered in just half a day. It really wasted my energy." Then he glanced at Wang Long and said proudly, "I didn't expect that you were so confident that you dared to attack my base. Haven't you heard my story? I haven't looked for you yet, but you took the initiative to come to my door, which saved me an extra trip." Wang Long couldn't help laughing out loud. Dong Yinwu frowned. "What are you laughing at? Is what I said funny?" Wang Long waved his hand and said lightly, "Sorry, I really couldn't hold it back. I shouldn't laugh in such a serious occasion, but your confidence made me really couldn't help it. Are you so confident that you can defeat me?" Dong Yinwu walked out slowly, with fighting spirit in his eyes. "Since I awakened my superpowers, I have experienced more than a dozen battles, and I have never lost a single battle, and no one has ever escaped from my hands alive. Then I really want to break your record today, to see how strong you are." Wang Long walked to the middle of the two armies with a relaxed look on his face, and stood there casually. Dong Yinwu walked slowly towards Wang Long, and his momentum became stronger with every step he took. When he was 10 meters away from Wang Long, his momentum reached its peak. His long hair moved without wind, and his red eyes glowed like a beast. "Come and fight!" Dong Yinwu roared. He pushed the ground with one foot. The whole body shot out with the force, and a punch passed, causing a whistling wind. With amazing momentum, the gray-clothed old man, standing in the distance, watching the battle, looked at Dong Yinwu's movements and nodded imperceptibly. In just a few days, the disciple's strength has become stronger. Wang Long also looked at Dong Yinwu with some surprise. This guy is really something. His strength has reached the level of the God of War team, and he really has the capital to be proud. Dong Yinwu's figure came in front of Wang Long in a breath. The fist of his right hand, with an unstoppable momentum, hit Wang Long's head fiercely. Just when his fist was about to hit Wang Long's head, Wang Long casually stretched out his left hand and grabbed his fist, which seemed effortless. Dong Yinwu's expression changed, and he immediately stretched back his arm. But no matter how hard he tried, the opponent still held his fist tightly. Dong Yinwu's heart was immediately shocked. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. In the past, apart from his master, no one had ever been able to catch his punch so easily. Who is this person, and why is he so powerful? Wang Long looked at Wang Long with a smile and gave him a positive answer. "Yes, your strength is indeed good, and you do have the capital to be proud, but you still have a long way to go to defeat me." As soon as Wang Long finished speaking, he used his left and right strength to bend it downwards. Crack! Dong Yinwu's wrist was immediately broken, and then he kicked Dong Yinwu in the stomach. Dong Yinwu screamed, and was kicked more than 10 meters away. Seeing this, the gray-clothed old man disappeared instantly and caught Dong Yinwu steadily. At this time, Dong Yinwu's face was pale, and there was no more sharpness in his eyes, as if he had lost his temper like a deflated ball, full of dejection. The invincible fighting spirit in my heart collapsed. One move, just one move. I was defeated miserably. I thought that with my strength, I had no opponent in the entire Shanjing city. Now it's really ridiculous. Thinking about what I just said, I was just like a clown. The gray-clothed old man also saw the change in Dong Yinwu's eyes and immediately comforted him. Yinwu, don't be discouraged. Temporary failure is nothing. Learning from experience and improving your strength is what you should do most. Dong Yinwu nodded with difficulty. He also understood the truth, but he couldn't get up the anger in his heart. Don't worry, disciple. Your hatred will be avenged for you. The gray-clothed old man said in a cold tone. Master, don't kill him. Otherwise, the inner demon of my disciple will never disappear in this life. I want to kill him openly. The gray-clothed old man nodded with relief. He handed Dong Yinwu to his subordinates behind him, and then turned to look at Wang Long. His eyes were full of murderous intent. He was a man who protected his children, and Dong Yinwu was his favorite disciple. If his disciple hadn't asked him to spare his life, he would have cut off his head with a sword. Boy, you hurt my disciple. I should have killed you to avenge my disciple. But you can't die now. I decided to spare your life first. Wang Long looked at the old man in front of him. Although he couldn't see his depth, he was not a master who would suffer a loss. So he directly retorted. Humph! What a joke. Who are you? And you spared my life. What are you pretending to be? A trace of coldness flashed across the eyes of the gray-clothed old man. Ignorant boy, you don't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is when you have a little strength. Today, I will let you see my methods. The gray-clothed old man disappeared instantly, and when he appeared again, he had come to Wang Long. Teleport. Wang Long's eyes were solemn. This old guy was not simple. The gray-clothed old man slapped out with a palm and rushed straight to Wang Long's chest with a destructive momentum. Wang Long did not dare to be arrogant, and also clenched his right fist and blasted out with all his strength. The fist and the palm collided instantly. There was a dull sound of bang. The two figures retreated at the same time. Chapter 168. Wang Long retreated dozens of steps and finally stopped after his right foot left a footprint several dozen centimeters deep on the ground. The gray-clothed old man also retreated more than 10 steps and then turned around and stood still. The strength of both sides was immediately determined. A look of shock flashed in Wang Long's eyes. His strength could easily defeat his opponent even if he faced a king-level opponent, but the old man opposite was obviously stronger than him. This means that this person's strength must have exceeded the king level. When did Shanjing City have such a person? I'm afraid that only Ling Feng can come to the entire God of War base to control him. Just when Wang Long was shocked, the gray-clothed old man was also full of surprise. He didn't expect that the strength of this young man was not weak. You know, he is a strong man beyond the king level, and he is also among the strong in the entire Dragon Country. This level of strong man can basically walk sideways in a place like Handong. Even if the neighboring Jiangnan province is full of strong men, not counting those old guys, I can still rank in the top 10, but in a small place like Shanjing City, there are actually people who can take my move. It's really not simple. Boy, you are really good. In Handong province, you are the first person who can take my palm. The gray-clothed old man had a profound look on his face. Wang Long shook his slightly sore palm and smiled coldly. You are just a little stronger than me, and you are still pretending. With your level, you can only kowtow and spare your life when you meet our leader. You are still stubborn when you are about to die. Then I will show you my real level. The gray-clothed old man suddenly drew out his long sword, swung a sword flower, and made a series of crisp metallic sounds. Under the illumination of the light, the long sword emitted bursts of cold light. There was a faint sword aura surrounding the long sword, which looked extraordinary. Wang Long looked at the long sword in the old man's hand, and his eyes trembled slightly. Sword chi can be seen around the long sword. Is this definitely not cultivation? This is really unheard of. Could this be the effect that only those above the king level can have? The old man held the long sword and quickly came to Wang Long. He waved the long sword like a silver dragon and quickly stabbed at Wang Long's vitals. The long sword flashed with mysterious colors under the entanglement of the sword chi, and the sword chi even caused ripples in the surrounding air. Facing the sword that was stabbed at him quickly, Wang Long felt the threat brought by the sword chi at a distance of half a meter. He knew that he could not withstand this blow, so he hurriedly used all his strength and retreated quickly. The long sword passed through Wang Long's chest dangerously. The strong sword chi cut a neat gap in the hard frozen snow on the ground. Wang Long only felt a pain in his chest and looked down. A long cut was made in the combat uniform on his chest, revealing the skin inside. There was a 20-centimeter wound on the chest, deep enough to see the bone, and blood was constantly flowing out, which looked extremely terrifying. When the team members saw Wang Long was injured, they rushed forward to check and surrounded Wang Long in the middle. More than 100 people quickly changed their formation and formed an offensive momentum. Wang Long quickly took out a golden pill from his shirt pocket. This was given to him by Ling Feng before he left, asking him to take it when he was seriously injured. Wang Long originally thought that he didn't need it, but Ling Feng insisted on giving it to him, so he reluctantly accepted it. Unexpectedly, it really came to the point of using him in the end, and Wang Long took the pill. The wound on the chest healed quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the weakness caused by excessive blood loss in the body disappeared. And his strength seemed to have improved a little. Wang Long was shocked in his heart. He didn't expect that this golden pill would have such a miraculous effect. Wang Long stood up vigorously and looked at the gray-clothed old man opposite. The gray-clothed old man looked calm on the surface, but he was deeply shocked. He saw everything Wang Long did just now. Wang Long was seriously injured by his sword energy just now, but now he is not only like nothing happened, but his momentum is also rising again. It was just because he took a golden pill. There is such a strange medicine in the world. I have practiced for decades, but this is the first time I have seen it. What medicine did you take? Give me the formula. I can consider sparing your life. Wang Long's mouth curled up slightly. This medicine is exclusively prepared by our leader. If you want it, you can go to him. He's a good person to talk to. Maybe he will give it to you directly, if he is happy. The gray-clothed old man's eyes flashed slightly, and he said coldly, "In this case, call your leader now and ask him to come to see me. Otherwise all of you will die." Wang Long had bad intentions. Looking at him, he smiled. "Are you sure? Stop talking nonsense. Call quickly." A trace of coldness flashed across the eyes of the gray-clothed old man. All the team members under Wang Long looked at him indignantly, wishing they could rush up to fight him. They were all Special Forces soldiers full of blood. How could they bear such anger? But they were all stopped by Wang Long. "Don't be impulsive. This person is too strong. Even if you all go together, you are not his opponent. Stay calm." Wang Long calmed everyone, took out a satellite phone, and called Ling Feng. Ling Feng, who was taking drugs in the training room, was absorbing the energy of the inner elixir at this time. What he absorbed was the inner elixir of the 2 king-level superpowers he had just killed last night after upgrading. The energy contained in it is 10 times that of a superpower, which makes Ling Feng's strength directly reach a terrifying 9,000 points. In addition, he once again gained a space power and a fantasy power. Because the space ability overlaps with the system space performance, his space has been upgraded. The space replication system has increased from 100 times to 110 times. This discovery made Ling Feng very excited. Although it only increased by 10 times, it has a huge benefit for his future strength improvement. The illusion ability is to create an illusion to make the enemy immersed in the virtual world and unable to extricate themselves. However, Ling Feng felt that this ability was not very useful for him. After all, he took a tough approach. When facing the enemy, he just punched and solved it. There was no need to use this ability at all. In addition to these, his brain development has also reached 95% this time. He is now more powerful in mental strength, even close to his physical strength. Just when Ling Feng felt the changes in his body, Wang Long called, "Fengzi, we have a little trouble at Yinwu base. They have a master who surpasses the king level." Ling Feng's expression moved. "Beyond the king level? Are you okay?" "I was stabbed by him with a sword, but I took the medicine you gave me, and I'm fine now. That guy specifically asked you to come over, otherwise he would kill us. Send me the location. I'll go there now. Ling Feng hung up the phone. A hint of coldness flashed across his eyes. Chapter 169. Yinwu Foundation. The gray-clothed old man saw Wang Long finish the call honestly. So he sat down cross-legged, placed his long sword horizontally in front of him, and closed his eyes to rest. Wang Long also arranged for the team members to rest on the spot, waiting for Ling Feng to come. The originally tense battlefield also ushered in a brief calm. Time passed by minute until an hour later. The gray-clothed old man opened his eyes with an unhappy face and stared at Wang Long. Why hasn't your leader come yet? Is he afraid? Wang Long lay on the ground without any image and said casually, I said, why are you in a hurry? I am a young man, and I am not in a hurry. You are an old comrade. Why can't you be patient? The gray-clothed old man picked up the long sword in front of him, stood up suddenly, pointed the sword at Wang Long, and said coldly, Call him again and tell him that my patience is limited. In less than half an hour, I will kill 10 people if I am 1 minute late. Wang Long's expression changed, and he was about to speak. A familiar voice came from a distance. What a big tone. Didn't you brush your teeth this morning? Everyone looked over and saw a slender man in black walking towards this side slowly. The god of war base was relieved when they saw Ling Feng's figure. As long as Ling Feng is there, the outcome of this war is doomed. The gray-clothed old man looked at the young man in front of him, and he didn't see any difference from him, but he looked more outstanding. Are you their leader? Did you bring what I want? Ling Feng looked at him in surprise. Things? What? I have a big bastard. Do you want it? If it's not enough, I can give you 2 more. The gray-clothed old man looked cold. Young man, I advise you to speak well. Otherwise, I will get angry and the consequences will be serious. Ling Feng sneered. I don't give a shit about you being angry, Lao Deng. You're still barefoot at your age. Aren't you afraid of getting cold legs? If you don't have shoes to wear, I'll give you a pair. What do you look like this? Oh. The gray-clothed old man was so angry at Ling Feng's words that his mouth was crooked, and a trace of anger appeared on his calm face. The ignorant child is so unreasonable. The members of the base behind the gray-clothed old man were also very angry. Mr. Zheng, this kid is really bullying you. It's really too much. Yes, Mr. Zheng, you must kill this guy. This shitty god of war base not only injured the leader, but also insulted us. We can't let them go. Facing so many people on the opposite side criticizing him, Ling Feng pinched his ears without caring. Even if they are unreasonable to you, so what? The gray-clothed old man frowned slightly, and a trace of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Looking for death. The long sword was raised and rushed towards Ling Feng in an instant. Ling Feng smiled slightly. He originally wanted to kill this guy in one move, but he changed his mind at this time. With a thought, he activated the illusion power. The gray-clothed old man, who was originally aggressive, suddenly found that everything around him had changed. At this time, he suddenly appeared in a bar room. A handsome man was sitting on the sofa in the room. There were 3 young girls dressed in seductive clothes sitting next to the man. The girls were dressed in fury and kept trying to please the man. The dim light, coupled with the dynamic music, constantly stimulated people's primitive animal desires, making people eager to move. The gray-clothed old man looked at this scene. His eyes gradually blurred, and he couldn't tell whether it was reality or illusion. Just as he lowered his head in thought, the man sitting on the sofa suddenly pointed at him and said in a somewhat unhappy tone, What are you doing standing there? Come over here and pour the wine. The old man in gray looked at the man with a puzzled look, standing there motionless. The man was immediately angry. Damn it, I paid you to come here so you can stand guard here. Why are you pretending to be innocent? Come over here quickly. A charming woman next to the man hurried to comfort the man. Mr. Ling, we are all out to play. Don't be angry, it's her first day at work today. She may not know the rules. After the woman finished speaking, she came to the old man in gray and whispered, What are you doing? Hurry up and go over to drink with Mr. Ling. The old man in gray looked down at himself and suddenly turned into a girl, wearing a short skirt and high heels. He felt that the memory in his mind became blurred, and he couldn't tell which one was himself. He walked over with a timid look on his face and sat next to Mr. Ling stiffly. Mr. Ling, holding her waist, handed him a glass of wine. The old man in gray looked at the full glass of red wine in front of him and drank it despite the discomfort down. After that, Ling Xiao poured him several glasses of wine one after another. The gray-clothed old man felt dizzy and hot, and slowly had fun with Ling Xiao. She staggered to the front of Ling Xiao and picked up the microphone with a blushing face. The following song is dedicated to the most handsome Ling Xiao. Oh! Then she walked to the song request station and requested a song, and slowly spoke with the accompaniment. My little sister sent my lover to Damendong. Unfortunately, it happened to be this bad weather, raining and windy. Then she began to dance with the beautiful singing, accompanied by the charming dance, which attracted Ling Xiao's applause, which made other girls jealous and felt that they had fallen out of favor. The gray-clothed old man showed a confident glow on his face. The atmosphere in the room became more and more lively, and he became more and more relaxed. With the dynamic music, he began to take off his clothes, which made Ling Xiao's eyes shine. But strangely, no matter how he took off his clothes were put back on. He could only keep taking off his clothes. After taking off his clothes 4 times, he finally stopped wearing clothes. He seemed very excited and began to release his dancing talent to the fullest. He was immersed in his own world and couldn't extricate himself. Outside the illusion, the people in Yinwu base stared at the gray-clothed old man on the field in amazement. The people in the God of War base were also stunned. How did this old guy do a striptease? The gray-clothed old man who had just looked like a master was now standing in the middle of the 2 armies, naked from head to toe, showing his electric motor hips, swinging sausages wildly, and matching his ecstatic expression. He was dancing and singing. So baby, say more sweet words. Look at me more if you miss me. Show a little more. Let me really see. Wang Long was so angry when he saw it. Damn, this old pervert has sty in his eyes. The players of the God of War base laughed as they watched the old man in gray singing and dancing. Ling Feng nodded repeatedly. Not to mention that he dances beautifully, much better than those who practiced for 2.5 years. Just debut. On the other hand, at the Yinwu base, Dong Yinwu saw that his master, who usually didn't smile, was so unrestrained on the field, and he couldn't help but doubt his eyes. Is this the most real master? The other people in the base looked at the old man in gray like this, and they all wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. It's shameful to watch. It's immoral. It's outrageous. How can they raise their heads in front of the enemy? Chapter 170. Half an hour later, the people at the Yinwu base opposite almost lowered their heads to their crotches. Ling Feng couldn't stand it anymore. It was too eye-catching. He felt a little sick. He waved his hand and dispelled the illusion. The gray-clothed old man who was swinging wildly suddenly froze. A trace of confusion flashed across his eyes. The familiar memory slowly came back to him. He looked down and was shocked. He quickly picked up the clothes on the ground and put them on randomly. He turned his head and looked behind him. The people at the Yinwu base looked at him with a complicated expression, their eyes full of shame. His apprentice avoided his eyes and dared not look him in the face. He looked at Ling Feng again and saw his playful expression and the smiles on his men's faces. Is it you? He pointed at Ling Feng and asked angrily. The gray-clothed old man was furious. He had lived for decades, but he was humiliated in public. Where could he put his face? How could he stay in Yinwu base in the future? Don't thank me. As long as you have fun, Ling Fei said indifferently. Asshole, I'll kill you. The gray-clothed old man was so angry that he cursed and didn't even pretend. He didn't want to create the image of a hermit for many years. He picked up the long sword on the ground, and his aura surged. A strong sword energy wrapped around the sword energy. The gray-clothed old man's body instantly shot out towards Ling Feng, making it impossible to see his figure. In an instant, he was pulled in front of Ling Feng. He held the knife with both hands, raised the long knife high, gathered all the strength of his body, and the turbulence within a meter around him surged. The sharp long sword flashed a cold light, and chopped towards Ling Feng's head fiercely. Go to hell! The gray-clothed old man's eyes were bloodshot, and his face was full of madness. He had completely forgotten the purpose of looking for Ling Feng. He just wanted to kill this annoying guy now. Facing the gray-clothed old man's powerful attack, Wang Long, who was standing not far from Ling Feng, changed his expression slightly. This old guy's attack was obviously more powerful than when he fought him just now. If he had just faced this attack, there would be no chance of winning. The people in Yinwu base turned happy. Zheng Lao's strength was extremely powerful, which was beyond their understanding. With this sword, today's battle would probably be over. Dong Yinwu's face flushed. This was the first time he saw his master use his full strength. He didn't expect it to be so terrible. I must work hard to achieve the master's achievements as soon as possible. He clenched his fists and swore secretly in his heart. On the field, facing the gray-clothed old man's full-strength attack, Ling Feng's heart was calm. He didn't know how powerful he was after just improving his strength, but he could kill the old man in gray with just one hand. Ling Feng slowly raised his right hand and lightly clamped the old man's sword with 2 fingers. The violent sword energy disappeared instantly, and the long sword turned into an ordinary sword. The old man's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly pulled the long sword back with both hands, but no matter how hard he tried, the long sword could not move at all. The old man in gray looked at Ling Feng with a trace of fear in his eyes. This was the first time he had met such a powerful person since he awakened his superpowers. He was an emperor-level superpower user. How could he not even beat 2 fingers of this person? This person is invincible. It's simply too strong. Ling Feng looked at the old man in gray with a changing expression and suddenly exerted force with his fingers. The long sword instantly broke away from the old man's palm and was casually thrown away by Ling Feng. The long sword was inserted straight into the ground, and the hilt was sunk into the ground together with it. Ling Feng easily neutralized the gray-robed old man's full-strength attack, causing the people in Yinwu base to be stunned. They thought that the gray-robed old man was invincible, but he was still not good enough in front of him. Many people had a flash of despair in their eyes. Dong Yinwu was even more shocked. He looked at Ling Feng in disbelief. He knew how strong his master was. A casual attack from his master could defeat him, but this Ling Feng could easily block his master's strongest attack. This is too terrifying. Still fighting? Ling Feng said indifferently. The gray-robed old man shook his head bitterly. Your strength is as strong as a god. I am no match for you. I admit defeat. The gray-robed old man lowered his head in despair after saying this. If you are willing to submit to me, I can spare your life, Ling Feng said lightly. The gray-clothed old man's eyes were full of entanglement. He couldn't accept that a royal-level supernatural being would bow down to a young man. But he didn't want to die like this. He couldn't bear to leave his apprentice, and he couldn't bear to give up his current good life. Since after awakening his superpowers and building a base, he enjoyed the treatment of an upper-class person for the first time. This feeling was much more comfortable than his previous retreat in the mountains. Why? You don't want to? Ling Feng frowned slightly, his face turned cold. A cold, murderous aura emanated from him. The gray-clothed old man looked a little flustered. He had no doubt that the guy in front of him would kill him. I am willing to surrender, he said hurriedly, fearing that Ling Feng would kill him if he was unhappy. Ling Feng's expression eased a little, with a kind smile on his face, and patted his shoulder. In this case, we are a family from now on. As long as you work loyally in the future, I will not treat you unfairly. The gray-clothed old man forced a smile and said apologetically, Thank you, leader. It's my apprentice. The gray-clothed old man looked at him with some embarrassment. His apprentice has always been unruly and definitely does not want to be inferior to others. He would never agree to be a subordinate to Ling Feng, even if he was beaten to death. It's okay. Call him over. I'll talk to him, Ling Feng said nonchalantly. Yes, I'll call him over right away. The gray-clothed old man turned back to the lineup of the Yinwu base, and Dong Yinwu couldn't wait to walk in front of the gray-clothed old man. Master, are you okay? The gray-clothed old man shook his head helplessly. Yinwu, we've really hit a tough spot this time. This person's strength has reached above the Emperor level. We are no match for him. He can easily kill us. Dong Yinwu was shocked and couldn't calm down. Above the Emperor level. How could there be such a strong man in Shanjing City? Even in the neighboring Jiangnan province, it is difficult to find an Emperor level. Master, what should we do next? Dong Yinwu didn't know how to solve the dilemma at hand. I have agreed to surrender to the god of war base. He promised not to hurt our people. The gray-clothed old man said earnestly. No. Dong Yinwu immediately refused sternly. I can't go there and be his dog. I, Dong Yinwu, will never surrender even if I die. The gray-clothed old man immediately consoled him earnestly. What's wrong with being a dog? Chapter 171. Master, a gentleman should have integrity. You can't lose face just because you are afraid of death. Dong Yinwu said indignantly. A real man can bend and stretch. It's not shameful to be a dog of a strong man. The gray-clothed old man expressed a different opinion. Let's go. Come with me to meet the leader of the god of war base. The gray-clothed old man turned and walked towards the direction of the god of war base. Dong Yinwu said nothing more, lowered his head, and followed him to the opposite camp. At this time, Ling Feng was sitting on a chair, looking relaxed. Wan Long was sitting next to him. The two were talking and laughing. After seeing the gray-clothed old man, Ling Feng stood up from the chair and put away his smile. The gray-clothed old man bowed to report to Ling Feng with a humble attitude. Leader, this is my disciple Dong Yinwu. Dong Yinwu saw that his master treated Ling Feng so humbly, frowned slightly, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. Yinwu, come and pay your respects to Chief Ling. Dong Yinwu seemed to have not heard anything, holding his head high and chest out with a proud look on his face. Yinwu, did you hear me? The gray-clothed old man emphasized his tone, looking a little unhappy. I would rather break than bend. I will never bow my head. Ling Feng, just give up on this idea. Dong Yinwu said disdainfully. Wang Long on the side pointed at Dong Yinwu and shouted angrily. You are a defeated subordinate. Why are you pretending to be so great? If our leader was not soft-hearted, you can stand and talk. So what if you are a defeated subordinate? Kill me if you have the guts. Dong Yinwu said fearlessly. Wang Long couldn't help but step forward and wanted to fight. Okay. Ling Feng stopped him in a deep voice, and Wang Long put down his raised fist in dismay. Ling Feng looked at Dong Yinwu with a faint smile. He didn't expect that this guy was quite strong-willed, much better than his dancing master. Although a bit of a thorn, if such a person can be trained, he is also a talent and suitable to be a pioneer. Do you think you are awesome? Ling Feng asked. Give me time, and I will surpass you sooner or later, Dong Yinwu said confidently. Ling Feng chuckled and then said, Are you too confident? With your level, you can't even beat the ordinary players in my base, and you still want to beat me. Nonsense. More than 100 of you are just ordinary soldiers. I am a super-powered person. How can they be my opponent? Nothing is impossible. If you don't believe it, just find someone to try, and you will know. If you win, I will let you go. I am injured now and can't show my true level at all. Ling Feng threw a pill over. Take it, and your injury will heal immediately. Dong Yinwu took the pill with an unbelievable look on his face. He had never heard that a pill could heal a person's injury immediately. Moreover, his injury was not light. The bone of his wrist was broken. Even as a superpower, he would not be able to recover for at least a month. The gray-clothed old man looked at the pill in Dong Yinwu's hand with excitement on his face. This pill was exactly the same as the one Wang Long took. Yinwu, take it. The leader will not lie to you. If he wants to kill you, he won't have to spend so much effort. Dong Yinwu listened to his master and ate the pill without hesitation. The moment he took the pill, he felt as if there was a strong energy flowing in his body. Then he found that his wound miraculously did not hurt. After a few seconds, the bone of his wrist healed directly and he could move freely. He felt the changes in his body with a shocked look on his face. as if his strength had increased a little. "It's really healed," Dong Yinwu whispered. He looked at Ling Feng and said, "I'm already healed. I can challenge." Ling Feng nodded and asked him to pick someone. Dong Yinwu turned around and looked back and forth among the players in the first team, and finally picked a team leader. "I want to challenge you," Dong Yinwu said to the team leader. "My name is Li Sheng, the captain of the 2nd Squadron of the God of War Team 1. Li Sheng said with a serious face. Li Sheng was a little unhappy. This guy must have chosen him because he saw that he was thin and weak and felt that he was not strong enough. He held his breath and secretly decided to teach this guy a lesson later. The two came to an open area, and the team members who loved to watch the excitement stood on both sides, watching the two fight. Dong Yinwu was full of fighting spirit and vowed to prove his strength. Li Sheng stood there with a murderous look, posing a fighting posture. "Please teach me. Come on." The two of them fought instantly, without using any fancy abilities, but using the most primitive fighting method style. The two of them fought each other with fists and flesh, and in a blink of an eye, they fought hundreds of moves, and they were evenly matched. Dong Yinwu became more and more excited as he fought. He liked this way of fighting. A real man should fight like this. His own ability is a power increase, which is most suitable for this kind of hand-to-hand combat. Li Sheng was also full of fighting spirit. As a squadron leader, his fighting ability is one of the best in the entire team. With 1,000 times of physical strength, his strength has reached an astonishing 2,000 times, which is also the strength of the 2nd Soldier King. After hundreds of moves, the two still couldn't tell the winner. Li Sheng was a little anxious and immediately released his fire ability. Dong Yinwu, who was closest to him, instantly felt a blazing flame suddenly appearing in the opponent's hand, making him feel like he was in a sea of fire. Li Sheng's fire fist hit Dong Yinwu's face without hesitation. Dong Yinwu endured the discomfort and punched to resist. The two fists collided in the air. Dong Yinwu immediately felt a burning sensation on his skin, and at the same time, a scorching sensation. He was startled and immediately retracted his fist, trying to distance himself from the opponent. Li Sheng saw his intention, and while he was in a panic, he threw a feint and then kicked Dong Yinwu in the stomach. Dong Yinwu was kicked out and fell hard to the ground, and the ground under him was cracked by him. Before he could recover, Li Sheng's fist had stopped in front of him. "Thank you." Li Sheng turned his head and left expressionlessly. Dong Yinwu stood up with a dejected look on his face, walked to Ling Feng, and whispered, "I lost. If he had used his superpowers at the beginning, I might have lost long ago." Ling Feng sat leisurely on the chair and glanced at him. "The gap between you will only get bigger and bigger. Maybe in half a month he can kill you in one move." "Impossible." Dong Yinwu immediately refuted. He felt that this was an insult to him by Ling Feng. "How is it impossible? There is nothing Ling Feng, can't do. They were ordinary people a month ago, and they can still beat you now," Ling Feng said calmly. Dong Yinwu was shocked. Ling Feng's words completely destroyed his self-confidence. Chapter 172. As long as you are willing to submit to me, you will have the same strength as them, or even stronger, and reach the same level as Wang Long. Ling Feng put forward his conditions again. Dong Yinwu's eyes flashed with a hint of desire. He had no interest in power. He advocated force and just wanted to become stronger. The conditions given by Ling Feng really made him excited. Dong Yinwu's face flashed with a hint of entanglement. He was unwilling to live under someone else's roof, nor did he want to be controlled by others all day long. Do you think you can get real freedom as the leader of a base? Without strength, in the increasingly cruel end of the world, you will only have the fate of destruction. The gray-clothed old man comforted him. Dong Yinwu was silent for a moment, then looked at Ling Feng and said, "I can join, but I have conditions." Ling Feng smiled with some disdain. "You are not qualified to negotiate with me. You are just an insignificant person to me. When you can beat Wang Long, come and negotiate with me," Ling Feng said, and walked towards the camp of Yinwu base, followed by Wang Long. The physical fitness of the people in this base is good. When the time comes, you can pick some good seedlings with Lao Ma to train. Ling Feng talked to Wang Long while walking. Wang Long nodded and said, "Okay, no matter how Dong Yinwu arranges it." Ling Feng thought for a moment, his eyes moved. "Let him be an ordinary team member under you first. Temper his temper. And if it is really difficult to manage, just kill him. The God of War base does not need him." The two came to the interior of the base, and Ling Feng searched the warehouse of the entire base and found that the storage was quite rich, enough for them to eat for a year. Ling Feng directly copied the supplies, and Ling Feng put the original supplies back to them. Just on the way here, he also copied the supplies of the Co-Creation Alliance headquarters. Seeing more and more supplies in the space, Ling Feng felt relieved. As time went by, the importance of food was slowly increasing, and even superpowers had to eat. After collecting the supplies, Ling Feng called the gray-clothed old man and Dong Yinwu. The gray-clothed old man bowed to Ling Feng very sensibly, and Dong Yinwu also bent down a little stiffly. Through questioning, it was learned that the gray-clothed old man was originally named Zheng Sanbao, and he was a hermit on the Chuanjia Mountain. "Old Zheng, why is your strength improving so fast? Is there any adventure?" Ling Feng looked at Zheng Sanbao and asked curiously. Zheng Sanbao was a little hesitant when he heard this. This was his biggest secret. He had never told anyone else, even Dong Yinwu didn't know, but Ling Feng was his master now, and he might cause Ling Feng's displeasure if he didn't say it. Hearing this question, Dong Yinwu also looked at his master. He had always been curious about the secret of his master's improvement. Zheng Sanbao struggled for a while and said slowly, "I did have an adventure. I got a strange fruit on the mountain." "Strange fruit?" Ling Feng looked at Zheng Sanbao in surprise. This was the first time he heard this term, and he was instantly interested. Zheng Sanbao nodded and continued. "I have been living in seclusion in the Creation Mountain, practicing Taoism. After decades of hard practice, I have only reached the realm of inner vision, which is a long way from the legendary realm. I thought I would end my life like this. After the end of the world, I awakened my superpowers, but they were only the most ordinary speed superpowers. However, because of long-term meditation, my superpowers reached the level of superpowers after awakening. Later, I accidentally saw a golden fruit on the mountain. It looked like an apple, so I picked one and ate it. I didn't expect my strength to increase greatly. I felt very magical. I ate all the fruits on the tree in one go, and my strength reached the peak level of the Emperor level." Zheng Sanbao looked at Ling Feng after he finished speaking. In his heart, he felt that Ling Feng should have a greater opportunity, otherwise how could he reach such a terrifying level in such a short time? After listening to Zheng Sanbao's words, Ling Feng also fell into deep thought. It seems that the end of the world will not only awaken people's superpowers, but also some plants will mutate and gain magical powers. Where is the Creation Mountain? If you want to go to the Creation Mountain to search for treasure, I advise you to give up this idea, Zheng Sanbao reminded. Why? Ling Feng looked at him puzzled. Zheng Sanbao sighed. To be honest with you, I was driven out of the Creation Mountain because I was not strong enough. Ling Feng showed a look of surprise. Zheng Sanbao, who was at the peak of the Emperor level, was actually driven out. What is the origin of this Creation Mountain? Zheng Sanbao paused and continued. The Creation Mountain was before the end of the world. Many people choose to live in seclusion here away from the secular world. Many people practice Taoism all year round and have great Taoism. Most of them have awakened their supernatural powers and are quite powerful. The best among them have reached the peak of the Emperor level in a very short time. They gradually formed an organization and occupied the resources of the entire Creation Mountain. The strength of several of their leaders has already broken through the Emperor level. I was killed by them because I had a grudge against one of them. It seems that there are many exotic fruits in the Creation Mountain. A gleam of light flashed in Ling Feng's eyes, and he was full of interest in the Creation Mountain. How could Zheng Sanbao, a smart man, not see Ling Feng's thoughts? He felt that Ling Feng was still too arrogant. He had just said how powerful it was, but it still didn't change Ling Feng's mind. Zheng Sanbao said helplessly, "Yes, there are indeed many exotic fruits in the Creation Mountain. Some are still in the growth stage, but most of the mature ones have been eaten by them. But there must be many undiscovered exotic fruits in the depths of the mountain. Ling Feng felt a little regretful when he heard this. If he had these exotic fruits, he would definitely have a better effect by upgrading his space, and he could also cultivate more powerful people. But fortunately, it's not too late, and he still has a chance. It seems that he must go to the Creation Mountain after finishing the things at hand. Put aside the things in the Creation Mountain for now. The base is currently in rapid development and is not suitable for long-distance travel. Old Zheng, you will follow me back to the base later. I will arrange a position for you. As for Dong Yinwu, Ling Feng paused and looked at him. Dong Yinwu also looked up at Ling Feng with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He really wanted to control a team like Wang Long. Dong Yinwu, just follow Wang Long first. Your current strength is still a little bit lacking. Dong Yinwu's eyes were somewhat disappointed. But when he thought that his strength could not even beat ordinary team members, he could only accept it sadly. After arranging the work, Ling Feng took Zheng Sanbao away from Yinwu base and returned to the headquarters of Ares base. When Ling Feng came to the underground command post, he just sat on the chair when a message came from the guard team. An unknown army invaded and has now entered the area of Shanjing City, about 150 kilometers away from Ares base, and is expected to arrive at the base in 6 hours. The number of enemy troops is about 3,000, and the number of superpowers is conservatively estimated to be 180. Based on the number of people on the opposite side and the direction of the invasion, Ling Feng guessed that this group of people should be from the Kai family of Jinling. After waiting for so long, this group of people finally came, but they are no longer a threat to Ling Feng. The 200-man guard team on his side can easily wipe them out. Since they are here, it's just right to replenish my inner elixir. Chapter 173. In the border area of Shanjing City, a group of 3,000 troops marched in an orderly manner. They held the most advanced rifles in their hands and wore bulletproof vests. Each of them was sturdy and had a resolute face. In the middle of the team, a luxurious snowmobile was moving slowly. The size of this snowmobile had completely exceeded the size of the RV and looked like a giant. Sitting in the car was the commander-in-chief of this march, Lu Neng, the head of the Lu family. Lu Ning sat leisurely in the back row. On his left and right sides, there was a young and beautiful young woman massaging his legs. On the table in front of him, there were all kinds of food and precious red wine. The entire interior of the car has been transformed into an RV, and the luxury inside is astonishing. All kinds of facilities are available: kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, living room, and even a tea room. Even outside, Lu Neng can enjoy the ultimate luxury. Master, according to the spies ahead, we will reach the Ares base in another 6 hours. A man in black reported military intelligence to Lu Neng. Lu Neng took a puff of his cigar, slowly exhaled a cloud of smoke, and said lightly, "What is the situation of the soldiers on the opposite side?" The opponent's defense is very empty. Basically, there are no armed personnel. Only some ordinary people are building something. The man in black answered honestly. Lu Neng frowned slightly and thought about it. They are not cheating, right? Such a large base must have at least 1,000 or 2,000 armed forces. How come I didn't see them? It's better to be careful. Let the scouts ahead investigate again and again. How many people are there on the opposite side? After Lu Neng finished speaking, he closed his eyes again and enjoyed the massage. "It's Master." After the man in black finished speaking, he took out a phone from his pocket and left the room. As the army was advancing slowly, Ling Feng had already arranged for Wang Long to lead more than 100 of his team members to rush to the enemy's inevitable route to give them a profound greeting gift. As for the second team, led by Ma Wu, they did not have to join this battle and continued his road of conquest. However, Ma Wu also encountered some unusual things at this moment. Unlike Wang Long, Ma Wu took the route of appeasement. After arriving at a base, Ma Wu would talk to others in a friendly manner and show his sincerity. Although this was useless, most of the bases would immediately turn against each other as soon as they heard that the military management rights were handed over. Ma Wu could only helplessly use violent means to annex. However, When he walked to a shelter called Anshin, he found that the shelter was empty. All the people inside disappeared strangely. After Ma Wu led people to check the entire shelter, he found that the people here should have disappeared not long ago because the supplies in the shelter were still in the warehouse and had not been taken away. You know, food is the most important thing in a shelter. It is impossible for someone to move without taking food with them. There must be something wrong here. Ma Wu walked outside the shelter, trying to find clues. It was too strange for a person in the shelter to disappear for no reason. Just when Ma Wu was still thinking about whether to report this matter to Ling Feng, dozens of snowmobiles suddenly appeared in the distance. These vehicles were driving very fast and were driving towards them quickly. Everyone prepared a fight. Ma Wu immediately gave orders to the team members. The members of the second team formed a battle formation one by one and faced the enemy. The vehicles on the opposite side seemed to have discovered the situation here, slowed down, and finally stopped 200 meters away from the shelter. After the vehicle stopped, more than 300 people came out of the car one after another. When Ma Wu saw these people, his face showed a look of surprise. Foreigners? How did they get to our dragon country's territory? Ma Wu walked to the front of the team and looked at the strange-looking foreigners. The height of this group of people generally reached more than 2 meters, and Ma Wu estimated that some of them were 2.5 meters tall. These people had purple skin all over their bodies and looked like a large purple potato. More than 300 foreigners from the purple potato team quickly walked towards Ma Wu. From the appearance, they are still very deterrent, but their specific strength is still unknown. Ma Wu also looked at this group of people with a cautious face, ready to attack at any time. A young man with a dragon country face walked out of the crowd opposite. This person was the same size as an ordinary person, but he was blocked in the crowd just now and was not discovered. This person spoke to Ma Wu in a bad tone. Ma Wu said, "Who are you? This place is now our MK base. Get out of here." MK? Ma Wu frowned. Why does this name sound so familiar? It seems that the leader has said it. Suddenly, he slapped his forehead and suddenly remembered the memory of MK. His expression suddenly turned cold. This MK has done a lot of unscrupulous evil things in the territory of Longhua. I heard from the leader that the people in this company secretly conducted human experiments. Damn, I was worried that I couldn't find you guys, but now you actually came out on your own initiative. Ma Wu sneered and looked at the purple potato army in front of him. Hey, didn't you hear me talking to you? If you don't leave now, you will regret it later. The young man continued to threaten. Ma Wu's expression was like ice, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. Where are the people in the Anshin shelter? Did you do that? The young man looked at Ma Wu with disdain and said sarcastically, "None of your business. Are you bored? Our patience is limited." Some people in the crowd with bad tempers came out and said something to the young man. Ma Wu didn't hear it either, but vaguely heard some words like fuck and shit. The young man was timid, and his attitude was completely different from before. After the two of them said a few words, the Longhua man resumed his arrogant attitude. "Which base are you from?" "Mr. William, the director of our base, wants to visit your base." Ma Wu sneered. "Look at your traitorous look, leading foreigners to harm our Longhua compatriots. People like you don't deserve to live in this world. Brothers, kill all these foreign devils. Kill." The Longhua man's face suddenly turned red. He hated being called a traitor the most, but seeing that the people on the opposite side were actually coming to kill them without knowing the consequences, he felt a little happy in his heart. "You're really looking for death, daring to fight these genetic warriors, huh? These foreigners have undergone genetic mutations and are extremely powerful. They could blow up a car with one punch." He quickly dodged to the side, ready to watch the show. Chapter 174. The foreigners in the purple potato army sneered when they saw that this man dared to attack them. "Send them to see God," a prominent man in the crowd said viciously. The others were eager to fight after hearing this. After they came to Dragon Country, they had destroyed several small bases, all without any injuries. It has become their consensus that the Dragon Country people are vulnerable. They have killed several superpowers with their strong physiques, and there are also several superpowers among them, who are stronger after transformation. The two sides soon fought together, and the battle started instantly. However, the god of war base soon found a problem. That is, this group of foreigners. Very weak. Originally thought that this group of people looked very tall and spoke very arrogantly, and their strength should be very strong. Unexpectedly, they are just for show, good-looking but useless. Facing the foreigners who were 1 or 2 heads taller than themselves, the team members made full use of their agility to deal with them at the beginning. Although these foreigners were big and tall, they were not very agile. At the beginning, the team members did not fight them head-on, but only attacked them from the side and back. However, when a team member hit one of the foreigners' fists with a punch and broke his bone directly, he realized that this guy was just a show-off. Then he punched him in the head. After that, other people also discovered this problem and punched the foreigners. There were screams on the battlefield for a while. The Purple Potato Army was beaten and cried for their parents, and many people began to raise their hands to surrender. They spoke in poor dragon language, raised their hands above their heads, and looked terrified. Surrender? Don't fight anymore? The members of the second team faced the group's pleas for mercy, as if they didn't hear them, and continued to kill them. Soon there was only one foreigner, and the dragon trader left on the battlefield. At this time, the Dragon Country youth's legs softened, and he sat directly on the ground. This was the first time he saw the MK cyborg team fail today, and it was also the last time. He didn't expect this group of people to be so powerful that they smashed the powerful cyborg into pieces in just a few moves. He just insulted them and couldn't imagine what they would do to him. He saw the man who had just negotiated with him walking towards him. This guy had just killed the most people and should be the boss of this group of people. He quickly put on a flattering smile. My fellow countrymen, I am in Chowing, but my heart is in Han. I want to report the beastly behavior of this group of people. They slaughtered the people of our dragon country to conduct their genetic experiments and robbed us of a lot of food. They really deserve to die. The young man from the neighboring country said righteously. Ma Wu looked at him coldly with a sarcastic look on his face. With just this little information, I'm afraid you'll still die. As he was about to start, the Dragon Country youth was frightened and fell to his knees. His crotch was wet, and he peed himself out of fear. He begged quickly. I still have important information. I know where they are hiding, as well as their number and strength. I can take you there. The only cyborg who was controlled not far away immediately cursed at the youth. Qin Hui, you bastard, if you dare to reveal a word, you will die without a burial place. Ma Wu turned around and looked at the foreigner, saying in a low voice, cut off this guy's tongue to save him from talking nonsense. A team member took out a dagger and came to the cyborg. The cyborg's expression immediately changed, and he looked terrified. He shouted, don't kill me. I won't dare to do it again. I'll confess everything. Okay, let it go for now. Ma Wu stopped the team member who was about to start. Tie them both up and bring them back to the base for interrogation. After giving the order, Ma Wu prepared to lead the team back to the base. There were relatively few shelters on his route, and several of them had been destroyed by MK. Their work was done. He would report to Ling Feng how to deal with the empty shelters later and see how Ling Feng would arrange it. Command post of the God of War base. Ling Feng sat on a comfortable sofa with a cigarette in his hand, and Zheng Sanbao sat opposite him. Would you like one? Ling Feng took out a box of Lacun Fuchin Shanju and gestured to Zheng Sanbao. Zheng Sanbao waved his hand hurriedly. I have been living in seclusion for decades and have no interest in this kind of thing. I have no desire for it. Ling Feng smiled slightly. No desire for it? This old guy is quite good at pretending. You thought I didn't smell the alcohol on you, right? Ling Feng showed a regretful look. Oh, that's a pity. I wanted to give you a few boxes. Where is Mao Dai? Since you were not interested, forget it. What? Mao Dai? Zheng Sanbao immediately raised his voice. A trace of yearning flashed in his eyes, and he looked at Ling Feng eagerly. He is a person who loves alcohol, and his desire for good wine is far greater than that of ordinary people. He can't walk when he sees wine. Ling Feng took out a bottle of Mao Tai from the space and put it on the table slowly. That's it. I like to drink it myself. Since you have no desire, forget it. Ling Feng opened the bottle cap, and a rich aroma of wine wafted out. Zheng Sanbao's nose moved slightly, and his face showed an intoxicated look. It's really a good wine. He looked at Ling Feng a little embarrassedly and laughed dryly. Chief, actually, I drink a little wine occasionally. I can accept this wine. Ling Feng suppressed his smile and waved his hand. Forget it, don't force yourself. I hate to force others. I'll give the wine to others. Ling Feng said, and prepared to leave. Zheng Sanbao was unwilling to let him go. He hurried over and blocked Ling Feng's way. Chief, to tell you the truth, the only hobby of my life is drinking. I really can't live without wine. Zheng Sanbao looked at him pleadingly. Seeing that Ling Feng didn't speak, he immediately added, Chief, I don't want anything to follow you, as long as there is wine. Ling Feng looked at him with a smile. Do you keep your word? Keep your word. Keep your word. Zheng Sanbao said quickly. Ling Feng sat back on the sofa and took out a whole box of Moutai from the space and put it on the coffee table. Zheng Sanbao looked at the wine on the table with shining eyes, wishing he could open it on the spot. My requirements are not high. You will stay at the headquarters of the God of War base in the future and be responsible for protecting the safety of the base. You can do whatever you want when you have nothing to do, but you can't leave the base. Can you do it? Zheng Sanbao immediately nodded and agreed. This job is perfect for him. As long as the base does not encounter a crisis, he can sleep in bed. He has been in seclusion for decades. He doesn't like to get involved in trivial matters. He just likes to stay quietly. After seeing Zheng Sanbao agreed casually, Ling Feng also showed a satisfied smile. Chapter 175. While the two were chatting, there were slight tremors on the ground. Ling Feng's expression changed. Could it be that the enemy had broken in? Why didn't he receive any news from the escort team? Zheng Sanbao also noticed this vibration. Chief, is someone attacking us? Ling Feng got up and prepared to check what was going on. At this moment, there was a rapid knock at the door. Come in. A member of the escort team pushed the door and quickly came to Ling Feng, looking a little anxious. Chief, there are dozens of armed helicopters over the base carrying out carpet bombing on us. Helicopters? Ling Feng asked excitedly. Yes, there are about 30 of them, all of which are the latest official L-98 armed helicopters. The escort team looked at Ling Feng and didn't seem to be very anxious. Instead, they seemed a little happy. The chief must have drunk too much. The enemy came to his door, and he was not angry at all. The guards complained in their hearts. How could he know Ling Feng's thoughts? As the leader of the base, Ling Feng has always wanted some flying vehicles, which can not only solve the problem of slow marching, but also have air superiority. I didn't expect that someone would deliver weapons to the door today. This is a good thing. As for the artillery attack outside, Ling Feng didn't care at all. Old Zheng, you stay in the base. I'll go collect these helicopters. After Ling Feng finished speaking, the whole figure disappeared in an instant. Zheng Sanbao's eyes flashed with surprise. Although he could teleport, his speed was obviously not as fast as Ling Feng's. Moreover, Ling Feng could ignore objects, and he could only teleport in an open place. At this time, on the top of the mountain behind the base, Ling Feng stood there looking at the dense helicopters in the sky, with a flash of joy in his eyes. He just warned the guards not to bombard these helicopters with artillery. These are all treasures, especially in the end of the world. At this time, the helicopters were constantly attacking the base, especially the two villas which became their special targets. Dozens of helicopters fired at the villa at the same time, and soon they found that the villa was so strong that it was terrible. Whether they attacked with artillery shells or heavy guns, it did not cause any impact on the entire villa. Damn, what material is this villa made of? Why is it so difficult to attack? The helicopter pilot complained on the public channel. All my bullets have been used up, but it's useless. I can't even break a piece of glass. Others were also complaining on the public channel. Look, there seems to be a person standing on the roof. A cry suddenly came from the public channel. Fuck, is this guy deliberately provoking? He is standing there and laughing at us. Brothers, concentrate your firepower and shoot him into a sieve. All helicopters quickly moved towards the villa area, and the entire villa was surrounded by helicopters. Ling Feng was delighted. These guys were quite cooperative. They actually gathered together on their own initiative. Isn't this convenient for him? Ling Feng smiled and waved at them. He's looking for death. Brothers, kill him. In the public channel, the captain of the flight brigade issued a combat order. In an instant, 35 helicopters shot at Ling Feng at the same time. Ling Feng raised his eyebrows slightly, and his mind moved. His mental field was activated instantly. All the helicopters suddenly stopped in the air instantly. Then the helicopters fell slowly and uncontrollably. All the pilots were shocked, because not only the helicopters, but also they themselves were controlled by a magical force and could not move. The helicopters slowly stopped on the ground, and the guards in the base rushed out instantly, controlled all the people in these helicopters, and brought them to Ling Feng one by one. Ling Feng looked at these dozens of people and waved his hand. The guards understood and took out their daggers to kill all these people. Ling Feng walked to the front of the helicopter, waved his hand, and the helicopter was put into the space. Ling Feng upgraded it 110 times. A brand new helicopter appeared in the space. Ling Feng took it out and put it on the ground. As a retired Special Forces soldier, flying a helicopter is his essential skill. Ling Feng climbed into the cockpit of the helicopter, familiarized himself with the performance of the aircraft, and saw what was different after the upgrade. The first is the change in the fuel system. After the upgrade, it does not need to use professional aviation fuel, but any fuel, whether it is gasoline or diesel. All aircraft are compatible. Secondly, the helicopter can carry missiles, machine guns, and other large weapons. In addition, it is equipped with a laser weapon that can kill the enemy instantly. The maximum speed is 800 kilometers per hour. The range is 5,000 kilometers, and the maximum takeoff weight reaches an astonishing 80 tons, far exceeding the conventional armed helicopters. Ling Feng looked at the data in front of him and smiled from ear to ear. With these dozens of aircraft, he can quickly reach any place in the entire Handong province, and his mobility is greatly enhanced. A helicopter can carry 10 people, and 35 helicopters are 350 people, which can be quickly reinforced. Ling Feng gradually upgraded all the helicopters and put them in the square in front of the villa. Ling Feng called the guards and selected 30 people who were good at flying airplanes and assigned them a task. When everyone learned the mission target, they all laughed. They didn't expect Ling Feng to be so bad. Ling Feng distributed ammunition to them, and each helicopter was also equipped with a small missile. 30 aircraft took off one after another and headed towards the target area. On the other side, Wang Long led more than 100 members of the first team and quickly moved towards the location arranged by Ling Feng for them, and soon arrived at the target area. Wang Long took out his mobile phone and saw that Ling Feng had sent him a message, asking him not to take action yet, because he had a surprise. Wang Long looked at his mobile phone and didn't know what Ling Feng was up to, but since the boss said so, let's wait and see. After an hour of waiting, the vague shadow of the enemy soon appeared in the distance. At this time, more than 3,000 people on the opposite side, fully armed, rushed towards this side. Wang Long immediately issued an order to let everyone be on guard and ready to attack at any time. Suddenly, there was a roar in the air, and the team members looked up and saw about 30 planes flying from behind them, and then passed them and roared towards the enemy's camp. Wang Long showed a look of surprise. Fuck, this is not the surprise, Fengzi said. When did the base have so many planes? Chapter 176. Lu Neng, who was drinking tea in the car, was also attracted by the huge sound of the plane. Why did the plane come here? Didn't they go to carry out an airstrike first? Lu Neng frowned and immediately called his deputy. Go and ask what's going on with the Air Force and why they came here. And before Lu Neng finished speaking, a burst of gunfire suddenly sounded around the car. The huge air wave made the whole car start to shake violently, and the tea on the table was also knocked to the ground. The two girls in the car were shaking left and right and couldn't stand steadily because of the shaking of the car. What's going on outside? Lu Neng was caught off guard by this sudden attack and couldn't help but said angrily, I'll go out and take a look. The man in black immediately turned around opened the door, and went down to check. The scene outside immediately shocked him. More than 30 planes in the sky were frantically firing heavy machine guns at the ground troops, and the machine guns were still attacking continuously. There was continuous gunfire at the scene, with heavy casualties. The 3,000-man team was directly disrupted, and they could not organize an effective counterattack at all. They fled everywhere. Although the superpowers did not suffer much loss, they were helpless against the planes in the sky and could only watch. The man in black immediately returned to Lu Ning's command vehicle and reported the situation. After listening to the man in black's story, Lu Ning was immediately furious. He slapped his palm hard on the table, and the solid wood table was instantly broken in half. Damn it, I sent them out to attack Ling Feng, but they turned around to deal with me. A group of traitors. Master, I don't think this flight formation looks like our plane. Their firepower is obviously much stronger than ours. The man in black said cautiously. Impossible? Absolutely impossible. Our planes are the most advanced in Longhua. There can't be planes stronger than ours, unless they are not made in China. Lu Ning even got rid of his stuttering for many years because of this incident. I'll go out and see what's going on. The man in black quickly stopped him. Master, it's too dangerous outside. You'd better stay in the car. Lu Ning came and pushed him aside, saying coldly, how can a superpowered person like me get hurt so easily? Besides, as the master of the family, I must stand up at this time. Otherwise, where's my dignity? After that, he opened the car door and walked out. As soon as Lu Ning walked out of the car door, he was choked by the bloody smell that hit him, and he couldn't help coughing. He began to run around in the thick smoke, organizing the survivors to fight back effectively. Soon, under Lu Ning's call, 120 surviving superpowers and 2,000 soldiers were organized. They picked up their weapons and began to fight back against the planes in the sky. After the upgrade, the helicopter was completely fearless, standing still and outputting. The soldiers on the ground suffered heavy losses, while the helicopter was still intact. Lu Ning was so angry at this scene that he jumped up and down. These helicopters seemed to be provocative, flying slowly over their heads at low altitude, clearly asking them to fight. The soldiers on the ground fired at the planes frantically, even using individual rockets, but it still had no effect. Lu Ning was helpless and furious, and could only let everyone hide. After clearing the ammunition, the fighter planes began their return journey, and Lu Ning on the ground finally breathed a sigh of relief. He urgently ordered the leaders of each unit to assemble urgently and rush to the God of War base as quickly as possible. Otherwise, once the helicopters completed the loading work, their situation would be even more difficult. Wang Long, who was hiding on the hillside, saw that the enemy was gathering their troops. Although the airstrike just now caused more than 1,000 casualties on the opposite side, there were still nearly 2,000 people, which was more than 10 times their side, and there was also a special team inside, all of whom were all superpowered people. This lineup can be said to be very luxurious. But that was in the past, and now it is no different from garbage in front of Wang Long. Soon the opposite team was almost gathered, and they could move on. Wang Long stood up and issued a combat order. Attack with all your strength. A team of more than 100 people attacked the enemy in an instant. Lu Ning, who was mobilizing the troops, was startled by the sudden appearance of the team, but when he saw the number of people on the opposite side, he couldn't help laughing. It seems that this Ares base has run out of tricks. They dare to attack with such a small number of people. They are really blindly confident. Everyone, destroy this army and leave no one alive. Kill! At Lu Ning's command, thousands of people quickly deployed their formations and aimed their guns at the enemy, the members of the God of War Brigade. For a moment, the sound of gunfire kept echoing over the battlefield. But soon something terrifying happened to them. This group of people could actually ignore the attack of bullets and still rush towards them quickly. Everyone present was shocked. This group of people is definitely not simple. To be able to withstand the attack of bullets, at least they must have the strength of a superpowered person. Could it be that all the opponents are superpowered people? This is unlikely. In the few seconds when they were shocked, the members of the God of War Brigade had already arrived in front of them. In close combat, hot weapons cannot play a role. The soldiers of the Liu family immediately threw away their weapons, took out daggers, and started hand-to-hand combat. Lu Neng, who was standing behind the team and watching the battle, was full of confidence at first, but he began to doubt himself a minute later. He was thinking whether this action was right, and whether he should not provoke Ling Feng. The opponent only sent more than 100 people and killed his 2,000 people without any ability to fight back. In 1 minute, the other side killed nearly 80% of his soldiers like autumn wind sweeping fallen leaves. Even his proud superpower team was killed, and only one of the 3 superpowers was seriously injured. Lu Neng sighed and spoke slowly. I am the highest leader of this unit. I want to talk to Ling Feng of your base. Wang Long waved his hand, and the team members immediately stopped the attack. Wang Long looked at the middle-aged man opposite, and a trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. Are you from the Kai family of Jinling, or the Liu family of Qingzhou, or the Storm Base? Lu Neng said with a somewhat ugly face. I am Lu Neng, the head of the Liu family of Qingzhou. This time the coalition is composed of the Liu family and the Kai family. We admit defeat and want to negotiate with the leader of your base. Wang Long pondered for a moment. He didn't expect this guy to surrender so easily. He originally thought they would fight to the death. Okay, then you can follow me to see the leader. Lu Neng showed a hint of surprise on his face. Thank you. I want to bring an assistant. I wonder if it's okay to bring only one? Whatever you want, Wang Long said casually. Thank you. Lu Neng bowed to express his gratitude, but a barely perceptible smile flashed across the corner of his mouth. Chapter 177. Wang Long left half of his more than 100 men to guard the prisoners, and the rest followed him back to the base to report. Lu Neng was taken away with a middle-aged man with a wretched appearance. This operation was a great victory, and Ling Feng was in charge of the base and knew the situation of the entire war very well. He was a little surprised that the head of the Liu family surrendered. Soon, Wang Long returned to the base with his team members and prisoners. Lu Neng and his assistant were also brought to Ling Feng. Ling Feng looked at Lu Neng with interest, especially the assistant behind him. That man's assistant would choose to find a middle-aged man or a short and ugly man. This guy has a problem at first glance. And this wretched temperament does not look like a dragon countryman at first glance, but it is very consistent with the temperament of the Japanese. You must be Ling Feng. I have heard of your name for a long time, and I finally met you today. Lu Neng looked at Ling Feng calmly, without any fear of being a prisoner in his eyes. Ling Feng looked at him calmly, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. I killed both of your brothers. Are you really willing to surrender? Lu Neng paused when he heard this, and the murderous intent in his eyes flashed. Surrender? I just want to see you. Do you really think I will surrender? It's ridiculous. You are the one who killed my dragon slayer Kamadai Ichiro. Ito Musashi, who was standing behind Lu Neng, said in a low voice. You are indeed a Japanese. Lu Neng, you actually colluded with the Japanese and became a traitor. You are a dog for the Japanese. You really deserve to die. Lu Neng smiled disdainfully. A man who knows the times is a hero. Now it is the end of the world. What is the country? It's all for survival. Lu Neng did not shy away from the word traitor, but was a little proud. After all, the Dragon Slayer Society has infiltrated Longhua for decades, and its influence is very large. It is a very reliable backer. You haven't answered my question yet. Ito Musashi looked at Ling Feng coldly and said in a cold tone, Who do you think you are? If you ask me, I will tell you who gave you the confidence. Kneel down and talk. Ling Feng instantly enveloped Ito Musashi with a huge mental force. Ito Miyamoto's face changed, and his body felt like it was being pressed down by a mountain, making him breathless. His legs began to bend uncontrollably, and finally he knelt hard on the ground. Ito Miyamoto's face was shocked. He thought that relying on his king-level peak strength, he was enough to flatten the entire base. He didn't expect that the opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination. Just a casual pressure made him unable to fight back. Lu Neng, who was standing aside, had no idea what was going on. He saw that Mr. Ito, whom he respected so much, actually knelt down directly towards Ling Feng. What on earth is going on? Lu Neng was so scared that he quickly knelt down towards Ling Feng. The master knelt down. How could he as a dog still stand? Ling Feng looked at the two people on the ground with an indifferent face. You, a Japanese, dare to act pretentiously in front of me. I think you are really a long-lived man who wants to hang himself. Ito Musashi was full of murderous aura, and the murderous intent in his eyes almost turned into substance. As a senior manager of the Great Japan, he suffered such humiliation, which made him want to cut Ling Feng into pieces. Ling Feng, you dare to offend our Japan? This is the stupidest decision you have ever made. You will become the enemy of the entire Dragon Slayer society. Ling Feng's thoughts moved, and one of Ito Musashi's calves instantly exploded into a ball of blood mist. Ah! Ito covered the wound of his broken leg, screamed heartbreakingly, and the cold sweat on his face kept dripping on the floor. Ling Feng looked at him coldly. I think you still don't understand your current status, Ito said with bloodshot eyes and gritted teeth. Do you think you can make an empire's warrior bow his head with this method? Dream on? Oh, you are quite courageous. Then I want to see how long you can endure today. Ling Feng took out a sharp dagger from the space. This upgraded dagger can be said to be as sharp as cutting iron. Ling Feng stood up from the chair and walked to Ito Musashi. Your country likes to steal things from our dragon country so much, so you must have heard of our ancient criminal law of lynching. Ito Musashi's expression changed. His eyelids trembled slightly, and his voice trembled a little. What do you want to do? Ling Feng played with the dagger in his hand and said in a very calm tone, I heard that the highest record in ancient times was to cut a person with more than 3,000 consecutive cuts before he died. I don't know how many cuts I can cut with my level. Hold him up for me. Wang Long and a team member immediately grabbed Ito Musashi's two-arm. You can't touch me. I'm a senior section chief of the Dragon Slayer Society. If you kill someone in my organization, I won't let you go. Ling Feng ignored Ito's words and cut open his clothes with a dagger, revealing one of his arms. Then he prepared to do it. Don't cut it. I was wrong. I confess everything. As long as I know, I will tell you everything. Ito's psychological defense finally collapsed, and he said with horror. Ling Feng smiled coldly. Whether you cooperate or not, you must take these more than 100 knives today. After saying that, he cut off a piece of meat from Ito Musashi's hand with a light knife. The whole conference room was instantly filled with screams, and the sound made Du Ibai, who was working next door, shudder. The whole torture lasted for 2 hours until Ito's entire arm completely turned into a skeleton without any flesh. It looked very scary. At this time, Lu Neng was kneeling on the ground, his face deeply pressed against the floor, his whole body trembling constantly, and his legs were already wet. Ling Feng looked at the dying Ito and injected him with a shot of stimulant to keep him excited all the time. No one present felt that the killing of Japanese people was excessive. The crimes committed by Japan in Longwa were not excessive even if they were cut into pieces. Tell me everything you know about the Dragon Slayer Society, and I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you get stabbed 100 times every day. Ito was frightened by Ling Feng and trembled all over. He didn't want to endure this kind of pain anymore. He would rather die. He took a breath and said, The Dragon Slayer Society was founded 50 years ago. It is a secret organization established by our country to invade Dragon Country. The Dragon Slayer Society has thousands of members and has infiltrated various industries. Some have even become industry leaders. After the end of the world, our goal is to quickly occupy various bases and form a powerful force. When the time is right, we will quickly swallow up the entire Dragon Country. Ling Feng frowned slightly. I didn't expect that the Dragon Slayer Society has infiltrated so deeply, and the time span is so long, forming an extremely huge force. This Dragon Slayer Society cannot be underestimated. Chapter 178. How do you contact each other in the Dragon Slayer Society? Ling Feng said indifferently. Ito Musashi hesitated for a moment and gritted his teeth. We are all in single-line contact. My superiors contact me through text messages, and I haven't seen him. Ling Feng motioned Wang Long to take out his mobile phone. Let me die, Ito Musashi begged. Ling Feng smiled slightly. I have changed my mind now. I decided to spare your life. Wang Long, put him in the confinement room first and save his life first. Wang Long nodded and left with Ito Musashi. Ling Feng had just shattered all his bones through his mental power, and he was almost like a useless person now. After taking Ito away, Lu Ning on the ground had already been scared out of his wits. Master Lu, let's talk, Ling Feng said calmly. Lu Ning was so frightened that he was trembling all over. He had been watching Ito being tortured just now. Although he didn't dare to look up, the tragic screams provoked every nerve in him, making him feel worse than death, and his days were like years. When he heard Ling Feng calling him, he felt his whole body softened. Leader Ling Feng, my tone was a bit heavy just now. Please don't take it as an issue with me. Lu Ning showed a smile that was uglier than crying. What conditions are you going to offer in exchange for your life? Ling Feng sat back on the sofa and smoked leisurely, looking down at Lu Ning on the ground. Lu Ning quietly wiped the sweat from his forehead, thinking about how to save his life. After thinking for a long time, he said uncertainly, I am willing to take out half of our Lu family supplies in exchange for my survival. Lu Ning looked at Ling Feng nervously after he finished speaking. Ling Feng raised his lips slightly, exhaled a puff of smoke, and said slowly, It seems that the head of the Lu family is not sincere enough. Supplies are more important than your life. You are useless even if I give you a chance. Lu Ning was sweating profusely after hearing this, and kowtowed hurriedly. Chief Ling Feng, spare my life. I am willing to take out all the supplies of the Lu family. You're only saying it now? It's too late. Even if you destroy your Lu family, the supplies are still mine. Ling Feng stopped talking after he finished speaking and looked at Lu Ning quietly. I can help you destroy the Kai family, and I can also give you our family's genetic research data. Please give me a way out. Lu Ning kowtowed frantically, with only fear in his eyes. Your Lu family also studies genetic serum? Ling Feng immediately became interested, not in their data, but in their genetic raw materials. He now has the data, but lacks the corresponding raw materials. As long as he is given enough raw materials, he can mass-produce 10,000 times genetic serum, so that his brothers can take their strength to the next level. The strength of his enemies is getting stronger and stronger. The Dragon Slayer Society and the Shadow Building are both behemoths, including the organization of the Creation Mountain. They are all powerful forces. The strength of his subordinates can be used in Handong Province, but it will not be enough once facing a larger force. So he is now eager for more raw materials. Seeing that Ling Feng is very interested in his genetic data, Lu Ning hurriedly said, as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw. Yes, my son has been secretly researching genetic warriors. The current progress is very smooth, and it is definitely a vent for future development. I'm not interested in your results. I just want to know how your genetic raw material reserves are. Ling Feng interrupted him and asked directly. Lu Ning thought for a moment and said, Our reserves are very sufficient. In order to ensure the success of the research, we have prepared more than 20,000 copies. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. With so many reserves, if the information is accurate, it is enough to guarantee his needs. Okay, you don't have to die today. Take him away. Ling Feng waved to the guards next to him. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Lu Ning secretly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he could survive, there was still hope of escape. At the same time, in the Lu family manor far away in Qingzhou, the news of the Lu family's defeat reached Lu Guanyu's ears. Lu Guanyu frowned. As the eldest son of the Lu family and the future head of the Lu family, Lu Jun's failure had a great impact on him. His father took away 2/3 of the Lu family's foundation. Once these people were destroyed, the Lu family's position in Qingzhou would be in jeopardy. His position as the head of the family was also uneasy. He was skeptical about this information. As far as he knew, the God of War base was just a small, unknown base with few superpowers. On the other hand, his father took away 3000 elite warriors, 150 superpowers, and a king-level superpower. How could such a luxurious lineup fail? Lu Guanyu took out his mobile phone and called his father to confirm this matter. After making several calls in a row, all of which were unanswered, Lu Guanyu's face changed slightly, and a bad idea came to his mind. Did my father and his men really fail? Lu Guanyu couldn't believe this. How could a small base have such great strength? No, I have to make plans early and find a new backer. Lu Guanyu thought about it and immediately changed a number and dialed it. After the call was connected, he immediately put on a flattering smile. Hey, hello, Mr. James. I'm Lu Guanyu. I want to talk to you about the cooperation we talked about last time. After more than 10 minutes of conversation, Lu Guanyu hung up the phone with a smile on his face. The sorrow on his face was swept away, leaving only a relieved smile. Dad, just go with peace of mind. I will definitely develop the Lu family well, and the Lu family will definitely move to a bigger stage in my hands. Lu Guanyu muttered to himself. This time, he took the initiative to reach a cooperation with MK Company. MK promised to send experts to protect the safety of the Lu family, and also to develop more effective gene serum with the Lu family. The price is that the Lu family will obey MK's leadership from now on. Lu Guanyu didn't care about this. After all, MK is a large international company with the support of the Elders Council behind it. It is more powerful than the Dragon Slayer Society in Japan. Ling Feng, as long as you dare to come to Qingzhou, I will make you come and never return. Lu Guanyu immediately began to arrange the counterattack of the Lu family. He began to summon the remaining supernatural masters of the Lu family and assign tasks to each of them. At the same time, he contacted Kai Haonan, the head of the Kai family, to jointly resist Ling Feng's attack. Kai Haonan was so scared that he almost fell off the chair after learning that the coalition forces were defeated. After all, the Dragon Slayer Society was his backer. Once Ito died, his backer was gone. Faced with Lu Guanyu's invitation, he agreed without a second thought. Even if it meant joining MK and becoming its vassal, he agreed without hesitation. Chapter 179. The news of the defeat of the Jinling Kai family and Qingzhou Lu family coalition quickly spread throughout Handong province. All the big and small forces in Handong province knew that a super-powerful god of war base had appeared in Shanjing City. Under the spread of the rumors by those with ulterior motives, the god of war base became a demon cave that killed people without blinking an eye and drank human flesh and blood. Many forces were terrified of the fact that someone from the god of war base would appear at the door of their base one day. Even forces like the Lu family and the Kai family suffered losses at the god of war base. So how could a small base like them dare to provoke it? The news about the god of war base soon spread to the white-clothes divine cult. After learning the news, the snow god secretly rejoiced in his heart that he did not have the impulse to lead troops to attack the god of war base. Otherwise, his fate would be the same as that of the Lu family. The god of war base was much more terrifying than what was shown on the surface. Only he knew that the king-level strongman of their Dragon Slayer Society also lost contact after this action. Why did they lose contact? The answer is clear. Snow God sat on his throne and thought about how to get out of this situation. Otherwise, Ling Feng might come to his door and he would be finished. Snow God, we have made detailed arrangements for the next plan for the god of war base, and we can start it now. A heavenly king standing next to him said confidently. Snow God muttered to himself and said lightly, the plan is temporarily shelved. The time is not right yet. We need to wait. The heavenly king said puzzledly with a flash of doubt in his face. But Snow God, Ling Feng killed so many of us. Okay, there is no need to talk about this matter anymore. I have my own plan. Snow God interrupted him impatiently. He hated Ling Feng more than anyone else. Ling Feng killed his people, interrupted his plan to unify Shanjing City, and affected the future planning of the empire. He wanted Ling Feng to die more than anyone else. But Ling Feng's strength made him dare not have any unrealistic ideas. That's it for today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Saint, come with me. After the snow god finished speaking, He hurriedly took Yang Zihan to his palace. Hu Tianxi looked at the back of the snow god, and the murderous intent in his eyes flashed. In order to deal with this bastard, he has been accumulating strength. These days, he has been cultivating his confidence and winning over the high-level officials of the divine religion, with remarkable results. Due to the brutality and tyranny of the snow god, many high-level officials in the divine religion have long been disgusted. Many people are willing to overthrow the rule of the snow god with him and elect a new snow god. He has now gained the support of more than half of the people. He has been negotiating with the people in the Longping base. Once he gets the support of Longping will send a master to help him seize power. Zihan, wait for me. It won't be long before I will rescue you from the sea of suffering, Hu Tianxi said silently in his heart. Hu Tianxi returned to his residence and sat on the cold bed. When he thought that his woman was now occupied by another man, he couldn't help but want to go crazy. He took out a bottle of wine from under the table and drank it in big gulps. Just when he was quitting drinking to relieve his sorrow, the phone rang. Hu Tianxi looked at the caller ID and immediately looked happy. He quickly shook his head to keep himself awake and then cautiously opened the phone. Brother Hu, I have already talked to the people above about your matter, and we can take action. A rough voice came from the other end of the phone. Hu Tianxi looked happy, and the most important part of the plan was also settled. Thank you, brother. After the matter is done, I will definitely thank you in person, Hu Tianxi said excitedly. By the way, when can the reinforcements come? Hu Tianxi continued to ask. This is the issue he is most concerned about now. Without external aid, it is difficult for him to compete with the snow god by himself. Even if he has powerful superpowers, it is still difficult to beat him. The person on the other end of the phone chuckled. Don't worry about that. The base has already sent 2 team leaders, both of whom are king-level superpowers. They will probably arrive in a few days. Great! With their help, this operation will definitely succeed. After hanging up the phone, Hu Tianxi's eyes flickered and he was excited. Finally, he could avenge Zihan and wash away his shame. If he kills the snow god, he can unify the entire white-clothes divine religion. Then he can unite the power of the Longping base and defeat the god of war base to avenge his family and villagers. Hu Tianxi's eyes were firm, and he couldn't help but clench his fists. God of war base. Ling Feng has had a few days of leisure these days. Since the failure of the coalition forces of the Liu and Kai families, he has never been to the battlefield again. There are other bases looking for trouble with me. Even the snow god who threatened me before has stopped moving. Ling Feng guessed that guy must have heard about the Liu family and was scared and didn't dare to come. However, although the white clothes cult didn't come to provoke me, I couldn't let them go. Ling Feng decided to take a few more days off and then lead the troops to destroy the Liu family and the Kai family, and destroy the white clothes cult by the way. At present, the entire Shanjing city has been integrated together. There are nearly 20 bases of all sizes in Shanjing city, which have been integrated into 12 bases by Ling Feng. Ling Feng has arranged 10 members of the God of War Brigade to garrison each base, which is equivalent to 10 superpowers, which can fully ensure the stability of the base. However, this also caused a new problem. That is, there are not enough people. There are only 480 people who can be mobilized at present. Some of these 480 people have to stay at the headquarters, so there are even fewer people who can be used, less than 300 people. Therefore, it is necessary to expand the army and increase the number of people in the God of War Brigade. According to the current situation, at least 400 people need to be added. Ling Feng called Ma Wu and told him that he would be responsible for the expansion of the army. Leader, judging from the current number of people in the base, it is difficult to find 400 people who meet the requirements, Ma Wu said with some entanglement. Then select from all the bases in Shanjing City, conduct a preliminary screening first, and eliminate those who do not meet the requirements through continuous training. Ma Wu nodded. Okay, I'll do it now. There's another thing, we must do a good job in ideological construction. I don't want to see that kind of traitor in the team. Ling Feng called Ma Wu and added another sentence. After explaining the things at hand, Ling Feng walked out of the office and came to the confinement room. Last time, Ma Wu caught two people from MK Company and interrogated them. He had dealt with MK Company several times before. I didn't expect that they would come back again this time. They are really thieves. No matter whether it is MK or the Dragon Slayer Society, they are backed by their respective countries. If they want to invade Dragon Country, Ling Feng will definitely not let such an organization go. Chapter 180. After arriving at the confinement room, Ling Feng saw two familiar faces, Ito from the Dragon Slayer Society and Lu Ning from the Lu family. The two men lay on the ground with a listless look, and there was no light in their eyes, like walking corpses. Especially Ito. Ling Feng specially greeted him and asked the guards to take good care of international friends and perform Ling Chi on him every day so that he could feel the most extreme pain while awake. Since he dared to come to Longwood to do bad things and try to split, Ling Feng would make him live a life worse than death. After walking through the two people's rooms, Ling Feng saw the face of a Longwood man in another room. This person was from MK Company and was captured by Ma Wu to the base. "What's your name?" Ling Feng looked at this person and said coldly. Qin Hui, who was sitting on the ground in a daze, saw someone standing in front of his cell. This person had a tall figure and outstanding temperament. He was a big shot at first glance. Qin Hui immediately stood up and said with a flattering face, "My name is Qin Hui. Nice to meet you, leader." Ling Feng looked at him with interest. "How do you know I'm the leader of this base?" "You are so imposing and outstanding. You can tell at a glance that you are not an ordinary person. You must be a big shot to have such momentum." Qin Hui flattered him with a smile on his face. Ling Feng looked at him coldly. He was very annoyed by this kind of fence-sitter who only knew how to flatter, but you have to say that this kind of person is very good at observing words and expressions. "Where is the hideout of MK Company?" "They are hiding in Jinghang City, which is at the junction of Shanjing City, in a shelter called Rongshan. This is what they just occupied recently." Qin Hui betrayed his master without hesitation. In order to show his sincerity, Qin Hui continued, "Leader, if you plan to attack there, you must be cautious. Their strength is very strong. Even the white clothes cult is polite to them." "How many people are there?" Ling Feng continued to ask. Qin Hui thought for a while and said, "There are about 500 of them in total, but 100 of them are scientific researchers, and there are about 400 genetic warriors." Ling Feng's eyes turned, and he called the guard to open the confinement room. Qin Hui was delighted, thinking that Ling Feng was going to let him go, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. "Master Leader, I, Qin Hui, am willing to join the God of War base. I will be loyal and fight for the base." Ling Feng looked at him coldly, and he didn't believe a single punctuation mark in what he said. "Take me to their base. I can consider it," Ling Feng said indifferently. "Okay, I'll lead the way for you, and I promise that none of them can escape. I know all their secret passages clearly." Qin Hui sold his master without any psychological burden. "Come with me." Ling Feng took him out of the confinement room, and when he passed the confinement room where another member of MK Company was imprisoned, he looked at him provocatively. William in the cell stood up and cursed at Qin Hui, who was so proud. "You traitor, you will die." Although he was a foreigner and did not speak Chinese well, he could understand Chinese. He heard clearly that Qin Hui had just betrayed the company. Ling Feng glanced at him coldly and said to the guard, "Give him some extra food. I think he is still too energetic." "Yes, boss." After the guard finished speaking, he looked at William with a grim smile. William immediately hid in a corner with a look of horror, and he hated Qin Hui even more. Ling Feng came to the ground and blew a whistle. The next moment, a huge black shadow appeared in front of Ling Feng, and the huge head moved around Ling Feng intimately. Qin Hui, who was standing next to him, was frightened by the huge body of the Black Panther and sat on the ground. He had never seen such a huge animal. It was like a small mountain. It must be 4 meters tall and at least 10 meters long. It is covered with black hair and looks very fierce. I don't know how Ling Feng tamed this big guy. Ling Feng picked up Qin Hui and jumped directly onto the Black Panther's back and patted the Black Panther's neck. "Black Panther, let's go to Jinghang City." "Woof!" the Black Panther shouted excitedly. It had been staying in the base for a long time and wanted to go out for a stroll. The Black Panther disappeared from the spot with a whoosh like a black lightning. Qin Hui, who was sitting on the Black Panther's back, screamed in fear. If Ling Feng hadn't pulled him with his hand, he would have been thrown out long ago. Qin Hui's scream made the Black Panther even more excited. He used all his strength and ran in the snow. It took the Black Panther only 10 minutes to travel 100 kilometers from the base to Jinghang City, which was faster than the high-speed rail. Ling Feng jumped from the Black Panther's back, then he came down and threw Qin Hui to the ground. Qin Hui was limp on the ground, shaking all over, holding his hands on the ground and vomiting nonstop. After 5 minutes of rest, Qin Hui slowly regained consciousness. "Where is the shelter?" Ling Feng said impatiently. "Leader, please follow me." Qin Hui stood up with difficulty and led the way in front with a shaky step. The two of them and the dog walked to the foot of a remote mountain and finally saw a shelter gate hidden in the ice and snow. The gate of the shelter was painted white, and it was not visible at all if you didn't look carefully. The overall construction of the shelter was perfectly integrated into the entire mountain. Behind the shelter was a cliff hundreds of meters high, and it was very steep. Even a king-level superpower would find it difficult to climb up. "This shelter is really a good place," Ling Feng sighed. "And this shelter is also the only way for Jinghang to enter Shanjing City, and its strategic location is very important. From today on, this is the branch of the god of war base." Ling Feng followed Qin Hui and walked towards the shelter. The guards of MK Company in the shelter soon discovered that a stranger had entered and immediately sounded the alarm. Half a minute later, the shelter guards, who reacted quickly, gathered at the observation port. The guard Captain Tom saw Qin Hui's face through the observation port, and a strange man next to him. Behind the strange man was a huge beast that looked a bit like a native dog from Longhua, but he didn't dare to confirm it. After all, whose dog is bigger than an elephant? Tom took out the communicator and spoke in poor Longhua language. "Qin Hui, why did you come back alone? Where are the others? Who is the person next to you?" Qin Hui stepped forward and said neither servilely nor arrogantly, "This is Mr. Ling Feng, the leader of the God of War base. He wants to talk to the person in charge of the shelter. Captain Tom, please open the door. By the way, our leader Ling is not patient enough. I hope you don't challenge his patience," Qin Hui said, looking at the observation port of the shelter with a smug look.